Shirt show. All right, let's go.
Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Shirt, man! All right! Episode 64 of Shirt Show. We're talking with Josh from Grizzly Wheeler in South Carolina. Let's go!
Hey, Blue Bear.
You look mighty fine in those glasses. I like it. You look smarter.
Thanks, Dick.
Yeah. I didn't say you look smart. But you do look smarter.
Smarter.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I barely need glasses, but I've been getting, trying to get better with things as we talked about. And I still get headaches because I think I'm staring at my computer screen all day. So I got my slight prescription with blue light. So trying to wear them.
So the glasses are for just up close? Like if you're reading?
Yeah. If I'm just using the computer all day, I'd like to keep them on. But if I'm home or I'm doing shit, I can just take them off.
Hey, were you by a pool today or maybe by a lake?
Nope. Were you? Is that why you had to be late?
Yeah.
Were you at Lover Daddy's?
I was, yeah. Did he text you?
Yeah, he was like, come on by, but maybe next time because I don't want you guys to be in the same place at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I just did fucking house shit today. I cleaned the kitchen. I did the dishes. I made a fresh fruit salad.
Hey. Whoa. Tell me about this salad. That sounds amazing.
You want the recipe?
Yeah, because I don't believe you. I don't.
What do you mean you don't believe me?
Okay, so you made the salad, but did you eat any of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, am I going to make it and not eat it?
Well, I don't.
It's fruit salad. You just fucking cut fruit and throw in a bowl.
But I didn't know that was your thing.
I love fruit salad.
Yeah, me too.
Not like that gross ass fruit salad where people put whipped cream and shit in it, and it's fucking that's gross. I just want fruit in a bowl.
Yeah. Now, if you want to make a little sauce for it, you can do a little lemon and some honey. Not a lot.
No.
But yeah, I mean, it's not a no. Yeah.
You know I don't like condiments. So tell me about your week.
When you're away and you're on vacation and then you come back and it's just piled up. Well, that's what it was. Just piled up. A piled up mess. Not because shit wasn't getting done when I was here, but just all of my shit wasn't.
Right.
So
do you check in at all?
Yeah. What do you mean by check in though?
Do you check in on your phone or whatever to see your emails to make sure you're not super behind?
Oh yeah. But that's the thing. You don't want to do that because you want to really be gone, right? You want to really try and reset, but then you find yourself grabbing the phone and then looking at it. And what I did was I tried to make sure, I think you said the same thing or you did the same thing as you just do it in the mornings.
Yeah. I always take my laptop with me when I go places and usually it's my routine of get up, take a shower, sit completely naked in the hotel room on the hotel chair. Cause obviously you need to put your naked ass on the chair. Mm-hmm. And then just go through your emails. And then when you're done, get dressed and head out for the day. Yeah.
I looked up like this when you said that, and I was trying to get a visual of it.
Of my naked ass on the chair?
Yeah. And then I just looked down back at the screen because I just was like, oh.
Because you remembered, you remember what it looked
like. Yeah. I was like, oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We can move on. Hey, what's brown and sticky?
A stick.
Damn it. How'd you know that one?
It's like a fucking 4-year-old joke.
Wow.
You hit me with the jokes too fast. I wasn't ready. I didn't have any of mine pulled up.
I've been working on my dad bod.
Me too.
Yeah. Now it's more of a father figure.
Yeah.
You like that one?
I did. Bread is a lot like the sun. It rises in the east and sets in the west.
I'm not laughing at that one. Yeah, that was stupid. We need to cut that one out.
Nope. I want to leave it in. I want it to crash and burn hard. I don't know. I had more saved somewhere, but I don't want to look for them now.
All right, man. Well, let's do some sponsors. Yeah? Should we?
Sure.
Can
we? Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, Easy Way's line of eco-friendly chemicals will get the job done faster, more efficiently, and will cost you a fraction of the cost per
screen.
Easy
I get
Way.
to hang out. It's the easiest way. I get to hang out with Alex on Friday.
Lucky.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going there?
We're going to Atlantic City.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to dinner. We're going to Gordon Ramsay's.
I'm surprised that's going on still.
Yeah, dude. In all honesty, like I am not going for the show. Like I'm going for the show to like see a couple people that are going to be there. And then I'm just going to split and like go to the casino and then have dinner with Alex. And then the next day, same thing, go to the show, probably hang out during the day. And then we got Tom Segura tickets at the Borgata Saturday night. And then probably just like go party that night and then get up in the morning, drive home.
Nice.
So
it sounds fun.
It'd be fun. Taking some of the staff. So I like Atlantic City just because of that, like the good food.
We've heard the stories. Oh yeah. The pizza place where you do the thing and the
Tony Baloney's.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. And the Chris gets the beef Wellington at Gordon Ramsay's, and White House Subs has the Phillies. It's a bunch of stuff. But I've never been when it's like sunny and warm and the beach is just like open and the boardwalk's open. So it's going to be weird.
So you're going to go for a swim?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like that story that was sent to us this week?
Yeah, you mean the one where he's like, I almost unsubscribed.
Yeah. I'm glad he picked it up at the end.
Oh, have I got a story?
Go ahead.
So Frank called me and said that he was listening to the show and he was like, wait, you guys, where to go? Like, where's the Frank button? And I told him, I was like, oh, don't worry. You know,
I would love to hear him, like see him listening to the beginning and not hear that.
He was like, hey, wait a minute, and he's like this. So
punched his computer.
But I told him, no, don't worry about it. We remember and it's better than ever. But he told me a story. He's like, hey, so a customer of mine came to the shop and we were bullshitting, and he came in and he saw that button that you gave him, that's on his desk. And he's like, oh, cool. What's that? And he picked it up, grabbed it, erased it.
What?
I know. And then Frank said, so then he recorded him doing it. Like,
oh my God.
So Frank doesn't have the right.
So Frank has a button with him saying,
not Frank, not Frank, the customer.
The customer.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, I love that so much.
So yeah, here we go.
Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Frank. Beautiful. I could tell that this is going to be a great episode.
Mm-hmm.
Boom.
No, I'm pumped.
Okay. Putting it away.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little worried though, honestly.
Why?
Josh.
Oh yeah, wild man.
Yeah. He's a wild man.
Well, anyway, I wanted you to send me a high res of that because I want to get stickers of that.
Of this?
Yeah.
Of this F?
Just the square. I want your actual artwork, but I want to make a sticker. I want to make Frank stickers.
I don't know why I drew it like that time. Why did I even put it's not good.
I love it.
It was just random.
It's perfect.
But it is what it is. Mm-hmm. Frank, he has a screen stretching company. It's called GSF. And what does that stand for, Dylan?
Graphic Screen
Fashion.com. Mm-hmm. Or you can get there a different way.
At rank.com.
That sounded like 6. It's just 5.
Yeah, 5 F's and then 5. Rank.com.
That's right. Mention the shirt show and you get 5% off. Next, we have Monarch, and I love Monarch for its high opacity mixing system. Mm-hmm. I got it out. You hear that?
You did. It's perfect.
Yeah, it was a little slow.
Well, really, really well. I actually had a very nice conversation with Alex this week.
Alex?
Or Aaron.
Aaron.
There's too many A names that we're friends with.
Yeah. I was like, oh, Alex is at Monarch now. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So I called Aaron and I was talking to him about a bunch of shit beforehand. And then we got to talking about CMYK inks. because we were doing one of those jobs that we had to do with CMYK, and it was like, I don't know, we did it before and it was fine, but I wasn't like super, super pumped on it because the inks that we had were kind of like dulled out.
Is this going on a white shirt or
black?
Okay.
With a white underbase. So I called Aaron and I was like, hey man, like we did this CMYK print. These inks that we have are kind of old. Do you guys have like a high opacity CMYK colors? Because you don't necessarily want like high opacity to where the dots won't like bleed together, because that's why they're thin, is so that they'll like do wet on wet and blend.
Yeah, I don't think there's any such thing as high. There's no such thing as high opacity.
Yes and no. It's just kind of like they're so. I feel like some brands are so watered down that like they just dull out.
Yeah,
they're not like on white tee.
I know of a brand that has a triple pigment, if that's what you mean.
Right. So kind of like that, where it's just it pops. You know what I mean? It's not like dulled out.
Yeah.
So I called Aaron and I was like, hey, do you guys have one? He's like, yeah, we do. But you know, we can't get any to you by like tomorrow. Like he didn't have that there or whatever. And so we ended up kind of making a workaround where I just put a certain amount of soft hand in Monarch colors, and it worked really good. Like the colors popped really well and everything was good. So we kind of like sciencey band-aided making this job work and making it look a lot better. So that's one thing I am going to get from them now, is I'm going to get their 4-gallon CMYK colors.
Cool. Well, I'll tell you what, ink better, print better, be better.
Live Moss.
Monarch. Next, we got action engineering.
Mm-hmm.
It sounded weird. I almost choked.
Yeah.
I got like a little frog.
You're like action engineering.
Sounded kind of like an engineer.
Yeah.
It sounded a lot like an engineer would sound, I think.
Yeah.
I hope. Yeah. That's what I was going for.
Like a train engine guy?
That's right. A train engineer. But
next stop, action engineering.
Those guys, though, they make accessories for screen printers.
Mm-hmm. They do. We love them. We have a ton of their stuff.
Right.
The badass manual squeegee is our favorite squeegee. My favorite squeegee, not everybody's favorite squeegee, but my favorite squeegee on the manual. I feel like if you're a diehard, wooden handle squeegee, it might be a little weird to use it first, but I use it when I use the manual, and then Randy had to use it on the manual when I was gone in Tennessee last, and he's like, man, I really love that squeegee. So he likes it a lot. And then we have a ton of their like flood bars. They have those water-based flood bars that are really good. Pretty much anything and everything, accessories for printers.
That's right. So go check them out. actionengineering.com. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm not sure. We should know this kind of stuff.
It is. It's actionengineering.com.
Okay. All right, good. We got it right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, cool, man.
Mention Shirt Show and you get 15% off. That's 15. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So, hey.
Our
Our guest today, Josh Wheeler from Grizzly Wheeler.
Print shop.
He's a pretty cool.
He's texting me right now, asking me where the fuck we are.
And we're on time. This is good, right?
Yeah, I love Josh. Me and Josh talk quite a bit, and he's a fucking wild man. So I'm excited.
He is. He left us a Google review, which I'm gonna read this.
Shirt Kong Google review.
Right. Yeah. Not Shirt Show, like a Shirt Kong.
Right.
Google review that I actually read out in a production meeting in front of the whole company because it was so good.
Yeah. My favorite is Josh always gets into fucking like, he's a troll for sure on like Facebook and stuff. And he gets into these arguments with people, and then he just texts me like this like 10-page like back and forth with somebody on Facebook. I love it so much.
Well, one of those persons was me, not on Facebook, but just texting me because he likes to text me that I'm doing things wrong.
Right.
And so it's amazing. It's amazing. We go back and forth until finally I'm like,
you just can't,
he wears me down.
You can't give in. You just gotta ride the wave.
All right. Let's not keep our guest waiting any longer.
It's all right.
I'm ready for this.
Go ahead.
I have a feeling he's going to have a wild background. Like
when last time we talked on the Upstate podcast, he was sitting in front of a dirty old mattress that was up against the wall.
I hope he's at at a Taco Bell or something, like at the drive-thru.
I hope he's shirtless.
You would.
There he is.
Is it working now?
It is working, you sexy son of a bitch. Where are you right now?
I'm in my shop downstairs.
Fucking drywall. Unfinished drywall.
I'm building my encampment.
I see that. So what's up?
Yeah, not much, man. I'm freaking down in sweet tea, getting ready for Dylon and Andy Rudman.
I like the Rudman thing. That makes sense.
We all know how important Google reviews are, right? I mean, sometimes a customer might decide to come to your shop based off of a Google review, right? And Josh was kind enough to give us a review. It was 7 months ago. And he gave us 5 stars.
Has it really been 7 months?
It says 7 months right here.
Jeez.
The good news is
yesterday.
we got 5 stars. And because I was concerned about that part, but
it would have been better if it was like 3.5.
Well, I thought I'd read it. It takes a minute. It's kind of a novelish sort of review, but it kind of sums up, I think, Josh pretty well. And so he writes, "This place makes the best chalupa this side of the Mississippi. I guarantee it. Highly recommended. If you can eat 20 chalupas in 20 minutes, you win a free t-shirt and gift card to Edible Arrangements." I've also heard a rumor there is a secret place on the website to enter the code Pure Leaf, and you get a free 3-pack of Duluth Trading Company tank tops that fit in your glove box in case you eat the chalupas in your car. And the adaptive cruise control gets a mind of its own while washing the chalupa down with a frosty beverage. Anywho, tell the owner Andy. Tell the owner Andy I said hi when you stop by, and don't forget to grab a churro for dessert. They are way fresher than Costco.
The best part to me about that is that does sum you up, but it's knowing the fact that you didn't script and like you didn't think about any of that. I knew you were on the fly typing that.
I don't even remember writing that. I remember talking about Taco Bell, but I don't making Taco Bell.
I've had full conversations with you before where you rant like that for like an hour without stopping.
I think I'm like a kinder version of Lewis Black or something. I don't know. I'm the print version of Lewis Black.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. He seems like a pretty nice guy when he's not flipping out on stage, though.
So what's going on, man? How's the shop doing right now?
It's good, man. I mean, I'm losing my mind over here. It's good, but I mean, yeah, the labor thing. I think I'm kind of in a bubble, like we've talked before. Like Charleston's not necessarily like Pittsburgh, but the labor, yeah, it's a little. I've got a good helper now, but I'm trying. That's something that could be my question to you guys. Is like how I know we've talked about Dylan, but like training, like I've got to figure out. I kind of in my head have a possible solution with videos and whatnot for training, but there's got to be a way to somehow expedite just kind of getting someone on course. And I think you've talked about it a little bit, Andy, just like either figuring out whether they have what it takes or they're going to acclimate quickly, or just kind of maybe find a easier task if they can accomplish that in the shop and it makes sense time-wise that they can be delegated to, or just have to cut them loose, but just finding help. Like, yeah, I'm busy. Long story short, I'm sure all of us are busy.
Are you trying to train them on the whole shop or on just running the press?
No, I used to, like an idiot, like probably most of us that think you're going to stuff years of mistakes and learning, knowledge into someone's head in a few weeks. Like that's not ever going to happen because that's not really feasible. But yeah, I'm kind of just focusing slowly on one thing at a time and seeing if they're going to stick around. And I've got a really great helper now. But the funny thing is most of the people I find that are really solid already have a full-time job, because I get them from Bosch, or I get them because right ride motorcycles with guys and they work at Boeing or they work at Bosch and they're very competent, which is why. And I'm like, if you're looking for extra dough, come on over, and they're awesome. They're just limited by time, unfortunately. So,
Why can't you hire them full time away from wherever they are?
It's kind of like those jobs are pretty okay. And the funny thing is, the more I research like clients I have that have Blue Cross, Blue Shield, or independent benefits or Obamacare, in some cases, it's actually better coverage for almost the same price a lot of these people are paying in these jobs. Because I've had these jobs and they're kind of a farce. They make you think they're secure and they're solid when, and it, like right now with the chip shortage, they've already mentioned at Bosch that they're going to be cutting heads soon. And it's kind of funny. These people think you're safe. Like, I thought I was safe until I got into printing. And the irony is I could go anywhere in the world now and probably make an okay living as long as I can pass the language barrier. Like, that's about, which is the irony of it. Cause I always thought I was safe and I never realized I was totally unsafe until I learned something and had a skill. But
isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Isn't that really cool about our trade, is that not only can we as shop owners go anywhere and have a skill that we can get, employment from, but so can people who work here. It's, I tell people that I told my kid that, like, he's running production somewhere at a shop right now, and he knows that he can go anywhere and be a production manager or even just or even like anything in the shop he could do. He could get a job immediately, and so that's pretty cool skill to have. Until
you go to another shop and they're like, wow, you fucking don't know anything about printing. You piece of shit. And then they fire you.
No, it is, I think a skill.
Well, you were from Shirt Kong, weren't you?
I mean, I'll be straight up. My kids will be turning 15 and 14 here in a couple months, but I mean, they're complete savages. I mean, it cracks me up. Again, I've had years to train them, but like, we went up there today and just cranked out hundreds of shirts, and they just crushed it, just pull it off. It's funny. My daughter and my son but then again, I'm raising them that you don't really have an inheritance coming, so you better figure something out.
You better learn how to print these shirts.
You better learn how to work.
Is that like a plan, like realistically, for them to like work there?
I mean, I've told them if they want to, but I'm not. I think my dad he had a shop and that was his vision, but it wasn't for me. And I don't really want to force that on them. Like, I told them, if you want it, it's here. You can have it. I love them being around, but I don't really want to put that kind of pressure on them or burden. But I mean, I would love it if it turned out that way, but I'm not going to try and like psychologically push them in that direction or anything.
Yeah. But the nice thing is that realistically, them being kids still, you can keep them until, like 18 working there and then be like, all right, go do what you want to do now.
Yeah.
So you got a good 4 years or so of labor still.
I mean, I pay them. They got money. They got a nice little wad of cash.
I think
in the bedroom, but yeah.
I think what I hear the most is that, and my experience too, is that, because my kid grew up around a shop and then they sort of go off and do their own thing for a little bit. And I think that's healthy. And then they end up, comes full circle and they end up back at the shop, and they have that perspective of being somewhere else. Otherwise, if you're just only working for your dad or something like that, I think that's probably not, I don't know how that would work. Maybe some people pull that off, but I really liked that he went out and did a few other things,
and came back to it.
Yeah. It's got to be pretty cool.
Came back to it.
That's like, I mean, the funny thing is they'll have a skill, which I wish I would have had, because it would have made it a lot less stressful. I mean, I kind of had to figure this out on my own, kind of like y'all probably had to in a sense. But the fact that they hit the ground running, and if they want to go venture off or go to college and have those years, that's great. And if they want to come back, they can make good money and they can have a career. But yeah, I would have loved to have been in that position. I was a jackass. I just kind of wandered around a few years. Yeah.
Yeah. I got hit with that question. I mean, we kind of asked that question at the end of all these episodes, but I got hit with that question the other day by somebody of like, oh, if you could go back to like take a time machine and go back to like 17 or 18, would you want to go back and just like start fresh? Or would you want to go back with the knowledge you have now? I was like, fuck yeah, I'd want to go back with the knowledge I have now. I was like, I would start a shop like at 17, like, figuring all the shit out. Like I wouldn't have to 10 years of like trial and error. I was like, just hit the ground running with exactly what I know right now at 17.
That's the Back to the Future, man. I want to take the almanac back with me.
Yeah, for real.
Have all the cheat codes.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
So for everybody listening to this that doesn't know who you are, you don't have to say like I'm Josh and all that, but like say like what your shop is and how you got started, because you have a cool got started story with the whole military thing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of it's probably like most people. I got into. I mean, this was all kind of an accident. I mean, I didn't get into this till I was 30. I just turned 40 a couple weeks ago, but I just kind of wandered many years. Went to the Coast Guard, got out of the Coast Guard, worked in warehousing, and was at my shop, my dad's shop one day, and he was helping this really young kid out. He's probably like 17, 18. And I had on a band tee from this band I like called Beloved. They're kind of a hardcore band. And nobody knew who they were. And he saw that shirt and he's like, I know who they are. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. He's like, no, I do. And I was like, cool, man. And I ran into him, that interaction went its way. And then about 6 months later, I ran into him again. And he had gotten a little shop with literally just a flash drive and a workhorse. And like, he's like, you got to come by and check it out. And I'm like, okay. And I went over, he was printing band stuff. And I just kind of looked at him like, this is cool as crap. But then like, I'm like, people pay you for this? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, really? I do this for fun, like in the garage. And just long story short, I mean, I wanted to start a clothing brand like most people. And then you have a dose of reality. It's not as simple as you think. And then got into that and just then one of my dad's friends had a landscape company. He needed shirts. And he's like, my dad's like, Josh is printing in his garage. And he came over and I did a design for him and paid me like $400 for shirts. I'm like, holy crap. Like this is, it would have taken me like 50 to 100 shirts, giving them away almost to make that money. And this guy paid me to do like one simple job and kind of ran with it from there. I feel like I'm like, am I too low energy right now? I decided to drink tea instead of a white Monster because I didn't want to be too hyped.
Between you and Andy, fucking sleepy podcast.
This will be perfect. Like this isn't the Monday morning podcast. Maybe this is the Monday night. Yeah, Monday night podcast. We'll release it at night this time.
You're gonna have to release in like 15-minute increments over the week so it doesn't make people nod off while they're driving their cars.
Yeah.
As Dylan
Look at this
guy. Yeah, come on.
Dude, I'm here. I'm here to party. Let's do it.
Oh, jeez.
That's like a Coke, probably, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got them diabetes.
So you did the clothing line thing, didn't love the profit, and it started printing for this other people. How long were you in a garage before you got to like your own place?
So me and my wife, let's see, that was like, if I remember correctly, that was like May. It was like May of 2010. And kind of how that relationship with him started was, I mean, he did amazing design. Like he worked he was doing like Kings of Leon merch, Third Eye Blind. I thought he was a pathological liar. And I actually asked a friend, I asked my brother's friend who was friends with Jeremy, who was the designer, who had moved down from Illinois. And at first I'm like, what is he doing down here from Chicago? Like, and then I found out he came down because of his grandmother. But I asked my buddy's brother, Joel, I'm like, is Jeremy for real or is he full of shit? Because no one like him lives in a town like this. Why is he here? And he was legit. He was doing stuff for like Tooth and Nail and different bands. Like it's a record label out in Seattle. And I mean, he was legit. He moved down here because of his grandmother. And then we worked on a couple. I kind of traded him some labor. I did some labor to kind of learn printing. He did me a couple designs. It actually ended up in the paper. I did like a Kickstarter, which it didn't hit its goal, but it was kind of funny because the whole design was a joke about the town, and they put me in the paper for it and didn't even realize I was making fun of them. My parents still have that on the refrigerator this day. I'm like the irony, but yeah, I did that, and then just I was in that garage. Let's see. So we moved to Texas. My wife's from Texas. We moved there in 2013, summer of 2013. But I was in that one car garage with like 2 screens for 3 years. and just figuring it out. And I'd work out of his shop a little bit, but after around 2011, he moved. He had to move. He took an agency job. And I'm kind of sitting there. I'm like, because my vision was for him to do what he's doing. Let me learn printing. We'll join up because you have contacts. Right. We'll crush this thing. But he was having having babies with his wife and him. Had a couple kids. He wasn't having babies. His wife had babies. But he had to go to Chicago. And I'm like, shit. Like, we couldn't. Damn it. Now what do I do now? Like, I don't really know what I'm doing yet. And I reached out to a shop in Orlando, a really awesome shop, flat stock shop called Mama Sauce. And I begged them to let me come down there because I wasn't in college. And I drove down there from Jacksonville. I'd cram all my hours in over the weekend, like 15 hours a day in a freezer. I worked in a freaking cold storage freezer. You spit on the floor, it turns the ice before it hits it. It was wonderful. And you should be spitting on the floor in a cold storage. Go ahead. Right. But I would knowing you, yeah. I would drive down there one day a week. And I remember I was just like, the first 2 weeks I just emptied trash because I just wanted to get near the press. I knew I didn't know anything. And I knew that I want to do this or give it a shot. So I need to see what the pinnacle is to even figure out how to construct that journey to get close to that. And it's funny because about the third week, their pressure washers went down. And a lot of the people went home and I'm like, I'm not going home. I'm going to learn something. I drove down here. Like, I got to get something out of this. And I remember there was this old guy named Marty. I think he's still around down there. Super nice guy. And he would stretch screens in the back. And I remember I went back there. I started talking to him. Nobody told me who he was. And I just started picking his brain and started realizing, man, he seems like he knows a lot about printing. Well, like, long story short is like, by the end of the day, 8 hours went by. And I had just pulverized him with questions. Like, I'm known as Grizzly Wheeler when I get someone in a corner. Like, because if you have knowledge, I will just extract it as best as I can.
I was really hoping he was just like a senile homeless man that was out back and you were just asking him questions.
No, what's crazy is he's one of the wizards of print. So I find out he's the professor at UCF of screen printing. He just stretches screens and goes fishing the rest of the day. He helped Nick, who owns Mama Sauce, start it. But I remember I just felt like an idiot. I'm like, I didn't even realize 8 hours went by. And I'm like, I'm sorry for like annihilating you with these questions. And he's like, Josh, the dumbest question is like the one you don't ask. And that changed my whole perspective. Is like, instead of being the cool kid that doesn't want to raise your hand. But he had a shop in Gainesville. I guess he did all of Panama Jack. Like, he made millions through the 80s and 90s. And he just stretched screens and went fishing. But yeah, he was, that kind of sparked it all off and like, he gave me this card. You could only get a hold of him if he gave you a card. And once in a while I'd call him and I'd pick his brain about CMYK printing.
Was there anything he told you that was like, I don't know, that kind of stuck with you other than the basics?
Probably that was the most impactful, is just to never be afraid to ask a question. Don't be afraid to go anywhere I guess just like, you can do this if you want to do it, because I'm 30 years old. I felt like I'm a little old for this. But you got to drop all the conditions. Like, you can do this, but I think a lot of people don't understand. If you really, whatever you think success is, for me, it's quality of life. I don't want to get too preachy or whatever, but like,
you will.
Preach. It's okay.
I just once in a while, people ask me like, I can't believe I basically have worked with most of my heroes of design and stuff. And it blows my mind because I'm a fanboy first, but they ask me like, how do you get to work with these people? It's just word of mouth and a lot of blessing, or whatever you want to call luck, or what do they say? That's just the result of chasing opportunity or being ready for it when it comes along, whatever that is. But it's just I just dropped all conditions. I'll go anywhere. I'll fly to Portland. I don't care. Like, I want to be successful at this. I want to crack this egg because I don't want to work. My goal is to never work a regular job again. That's my goal. That's my biggest goal, because this has been awesome, man. I'm sitting here. Well, you two guys are like cool. Like, I want to say this to you real quick. Like, no, seriously, you two guys. I know Dylan pretty decent from always shooting his horse in Red Dead Redemption. When we played online a few years ago, Matt pissed off everybody because I'd shoot their horse and they'd have to wait like 15 minutes for the
horse. One of my favorite, hold on, I gotta go on a tangent real quick. One of my favorite things ever was in Red Dead, there's a train and the train goes around the whole map and you can like ride it and whatever. Josh is pissing everybody off. Pretty much everyone other than me muted him because they were sick of fucking hearing him. And Josh like would just come to us and murder one of us while we're trying to do something. And the worst part is if you die, you end up like way out in the woods and you have to catch the train again. It's a huge pain in the ass. So they got to the point where they just let Josh catch up. Like it took probably 45 minutes for him to catch up to us on the train. Waited till he just got on the train and he's like, please, like seriously though, don't kill me this time. I'm done. I just want to be on the train. Whatever. He fucking gets on the train. As soon as he gets on the train, Randy fucking shoots him right in the head, kills him.
Here's another side note before I give y'all a compliment. I thought there was a bomb on my porch a couple weeks after that because apparently them guys say that I was breathing too much in the mic. I didn't know I was using
super
an
mouth
Xbox
breather.
mic.
This was Josh the whole time. Be like, hey guys. It's like, dude, seriously, fucking shut your mic off.
But like the funny thing is when I first met Dylan, like Randy would talk. Dylan was always quiet because he's like trying to figure, I could tell he's trying to like figure out who is this guy. There was another guy you guys shop. I don't know who he is. He barely ever talked. But
he's not around anymore.
And then the Relentless merch guys would play.
Yep.
But they would always complain that I was breathing. And I literally had the mic almost twisted behind my head. And I'm like, how can you hear me breathing?
The best part is I would be like, Josh, fix your mic. He's like, how's this? And then he'd go, I'm like, nope, still not good. And he's like, well, hold on a second. And you hear him get quieter because you can tell it's getting higher. He's like, how about now? I was like, stop fucking eating Krispy Kremes and maybe it'll work.
But like 2 weeks later, I come home and I look on the front step and there's, a 5x5 box. Dylan had fucking ordered me like the
ordered him like
AFX
a nice
8000 fucking like fighter pilot headset. I mean, the only thing it didn't have was a visor for the freaking. He drop shipped me. But yeah, the old Red Dead Redemption days. But no, what I was gonna say is like, in the most non-dad way possible, I'm so stoked or proud of you guys that you like have seriously like done this. Like I'm on here, I'm stoked to be on here, but like you guys like push through hell or high water and like it really, I think you created a really rad thing in this community and hopefully it goes outside this community further and further. But seriously, like you guys stuck with it. Like, I mean, I knew you were going to start it. You started it, but I'm like, I wonder how long they're going to stick with it. But you guys really stuck with it. That's a lot nowadays.
Well, I'm
so
glad
many people start shit and they bail out on it.
I really appreciate what you said. And just so you know, this is our last episode.
It's been great.
It's been good. Thanks for talking about that.
Comcast cutting your service off in upstate New York.
Yeah.
They got to bring in dial up or you're not going to be able to, you're going to be too grainy on the video with Andy.
Yeah, we're not stopping. We're going to keep going. The best part is it's fun every week. So especially when we get to talk to assholes like you. So it's good.
I'm just a swamp squatch hanging out and
right.
building my little
Burning
print heaven.
Plastic furniture in your backyard.
I'm telling you, pouring concrete this week. I'm blowing this sucker out. I had to put 800 amps last week with cooking with gas now.
Go back. Hold on. Go back. I want to hear. So you're at the shop you were at. Was that after the garage and everything? You've only been at one other shop.
So we were in Florida. My wife's from Texas. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. My wife's from Galveston, Texas. And there was a family property out there that her mom offered for us to move to. It was a smaller house, but it was 2-story and you live upstairs and the bottom was about, 600-700 square feet. And she kept saying, y'all should move out here. And I'm like, I don't know. And finally, I'm just like looking at my job. It's kind of like not really going anywhere. It wasn't a bad job, but it wasn't a great job. And I looked at my wife. I'm like, screw it. Let's do it. Let's try and sell the house. The funny thing too is we bought our house 6 months before 2008 when all that went down. So that was a fun experience. That changed my whole outlook on finances and the economy and all this insanity. But we decided to sell the house, move out there, and we were out there from 2013 to 2016. And I just busted my ass in that little shop. My first press, the first piece of equipment I bought, because I built my light box, was a Workhorse what's the gray one? It was like a gray one. It wasn't the blue. It was one below the blue. It was like the variant Odyssey. I think it was Odyssey. That might have been the name of it. But I got a workhorse manual. I think it was like 4 station, 6 color. I can't remember. It was tiny, but it wasn't a tabletop. It was a regular one. Bought that from my buddy Paul, who owns a shop out there in Houston, and got a couple jobs with churches. Just started trying to get some revenue going. And then was out there 3 years. And when I was in the Coast Guard in the early 2000s, I was stationed here in Charleston. And me and my wife were talking. I mean, we were looking. I love working with creatives. I'll work with anybody, but I enjoy working with artists and creatives because I feel like I'm kind of an odd duck like that. And we were looking at, Austin, Nashville, Denver, all these creative hubs, but
artist areas.
Yeah, they were kind of, they're very competitive, very, and usually that results in, if you're a new guy, you're going to work for nothing because you got to get your name out there. You got to try and get a share of the claim. But we looked at Charleston. There's always kind of been for the last, I don't know, it's early 2000s, little creative scenes bubbling here. And I just kind of looked at it and I'm like, well, I already lived there once and it's a nice place. I said, why don't we come over here? And then we moved over here in 2016 and it's been plowing ahead since then.
But you're, I know we talked about it, but I don't know if it's like common knowledge, but you got a new place, but you're not there yet, right? You're still at the old place.
So we bought a house. It happened. It was not planned. It was sporadic because our landlord pulled the little slimy shit that they all do when they know they can get a lot more money. Is we rented this house for 5 years and perfectly fine. And the landlord sent an appraiser over in like April. And I'm like, are you going to sell this house? He's like, no. You don't have anything to worry about. I'm like, okay. Cause we've been qualified. We've been approved for a house for years, but I'm like, I'm not paying the height of the market. I'm going to wait. But he pulled that crap where they pull this junk because they can't raise the rent $1,000 on a tenant. So they get you out like with this eviction thing, which is totally legal, which is slimy as hell. So they can raise the rent because this market skyrocketed here. It's crazy. Just the cost of living here. So that was unplanned. And then one of my client who owns a restaurant downtown's wife is a realtor. She's amazing. Jen, if you're in this area, Carolina One Real Estate, Jen, I got to look up her card for her last name. Just hit me up. I'll give you a contact.
Just a Jen. You'll figure it out.
If you're moving this way. But, she would send me houses and I really want a shop property. I want, for me, I'm looking at after print because things are going digital and we can go into this or not. But like, I'm kind of looking at, I got to get some assets and I need to get some equity because that's the cash out. And I really want to try and own my stuff. And so I'm like, I want a shop property. She sent one. No. And then she sent this one. And I'm like, that's interesting. But it's so competitive here. Like people from New York up north and in California are coming here sight unseen and just buying houses all cash. Like you can't even compete under $500,000 barely at this point. And she found this acre lot and had a workshop on it. And the house is 2 stories. It's 2,000 square feet. So we live upstairs and the whole bottom is open for where I have all my hat equipment now. We've moved that here. I'm blowing the workshop out. They're pouring a bunch of concrete this week, but I can expand that as I go. But that's always been my goal. That's always been my vision is to at least own because it's crazy when I'm said and done with this workshop. It'll only be 2,000 square feet, but I can expand it as we go. Mm-hmm. And I'm outside town, so I don't have as much.
Well, it's yours. You know what I mean? You have the land, so you can build on it.
Right. And like the funny thing is I'll have spent less than probably $30,000. And I'm going to be generous about that, finishing out the building, depending on how I want to finish it, whether it's brick, windows, all that kind of stuff, or it's just metal like it is now. But if you went and tried to find a 2,000 square foot metal building down the street, it'd be $400,000 and it wouldn't, and I'm on an acre. It's crazy. So that's kind of been my vision. The next step is getting into Airbnbs, which we may do with this house because I have several friends doing that and they're crushing. It's just kind of moving in that direction, but that's outside print and everything. We're just kind of trying to figure out what's next, like down the road. Still going to print, love doing this. And I feel like I got a good amount of time left.
I mean, that's important, right? I mean, Dylan and I both print. That's our main thing. But I think at some point along the way, you have to plan for, like you said, a strategy strategy for, finishing up or getting out or retiring.
Diversify somewhat.
Right. And so if it's an Airbnb or if it's, I don't know, I don't think you'd want to have any money in a savings account right now, but whatever it is, there needs to be something else, because what happens when, I think somebody brought that up, I want to say it was on Printavo or something like that recently, where how easy is it to sell your shop, in the end, like when you want to retire, how easy is that? And is it worth anything? And so like you said, you want to have everything paid for in cash, and you want to have, I think in order to sell a shop, you have to have, because I'm going to be subtracted from it, right? So I won't be here anymore. And so who's going to fill that role? I think you need to have everything in order. You need to have processes. You need to have people that can do things besides the owner operator, that is, and so that's a really tough thing to do. And I think it's wise. I think it's smart to think about other stuff. And so I need to do more of that. That's for sure.
What was the consensus on that? That it was better nowadays to sell, like it's easier to sell a shop now?
I actually have thought about that.
I feel like it's the opposite.
Well, that's how I feel. Like I thought about that, because I had one client a while back kind of asked me, they're retired military. And at the time I was not even close to where I'm at now in terms of the shop. But I'm thinking about that. I'm like, so people do sell shops and then people sell equipment. But when you subtract us out of that, number one, your clients, I mean, I don't even know if you can even sign them to exclusive contracts. And no consumer wants to be like, a cell phone's bad enough. You're not going to do that with a print shop.
Well, the thing is that a lot of those people they found you on the internet or whatever. They're coming there for you and your whatever, your thing. And I feel like in the olden days, it was easier to sell a book of clients because you had their screens, and it's hard to make screens, so that you already had their artwork, their screens made, everything. Nowadays, everything's digital. So it's like buying a book of clients, I feel like, is bullshit nowadays, because like they could just go somewhere else.
That's what I mean. There's no guarantee. So how do you put
anybody?
How do you put a value? How do you put what's the right word? A value on that or whatever.
Right. I might be totally wrong, but I feel like if somebody was to come along now to buy my shop, it would be a lot bigger of a company that just wants the location, the building, all the equipment in it, to where they can come in with their own managers or whatever and be like, hey, now we have a Northeast print location. I think that's what taking over saying. Upstate. Yeah. They just want to be like, oh, we're ready to go, basically.
I think that's what, that's why I'm looking at. I think that's what Andy's kind of saying, is like, the equipment is one thing, but even the equipment's going to degrade as you go. And like, I think that's not good if you're trying to sell your shop, but I think there's also kind of safety in that for us, is that people can go anywhere. And I mean, anybody can print, like pretty much us. There's plenty of people doing it, but I think a lot of people I want to believe are using us because they like whatever about us or our business or whatever. And like, I don't know. There's a few big shops around here that are gone. Like one of them, an attorney owned it. He kept trying to call me and he wanted to meet. And I'm like, I don't even want to talk. I don't want to run your shop or any of that stuff. And they're gone.
I feel like from knowing you, Josh, that like 99% of your clients are going to you because of you and your relationship.
I mean, I want to believe that, but it's a lot of pressure. Like you got to deliver,
it's
you got to keep them
like,
happy.
I know there's definitely customers that we have that come to us because of me talking to them for, years and years of just shooting the shit, or I talk to them outside of it, or I call and catch up and everything else. It's like, I feel like if I died, they might give a courtesy call and be like, well, who's running the shit there? But it's like, would they
Where'd
stay?
that Twinkie go?
Right. So
I think that's maybe that's the goal, is that, when I started, I didn't have an exit strategy in mind. That wasn't my goal. My goal when I started Shirkong wasn't to build this company so that I can then sell it. My goal was to open a shop so that I can print t-shirts and make a living. And I think as you go along in the life of your company, that changes, and you have to start considering like, okay, so what does happen if I, want to retire? And so and I don't think you can do that overnight. I don't think you can change your shop so that it's ready to sell overnight. And so I would say that takes, I don't think so either. I mean, I think that would take years, it could take
There's a lot
years.
of moving parts. Yeah,
there are. And then it's, the other thing is like, you can't just put a for sale sign out in your front yard and say, hey, guess what? We're for sale, because then you jeopardize all sorts of relationships. And then your team, like the people that are working for you, are like, well, what the fuck? I better find a different job. And so it's a very difficult thing. And so
I feel like somebody has to approach you.
Yeah. Or I mean, maybe it makes sense. Like, and the way I think that this could sell when I'm ready to walk away is to an existing customer. Yeah. Next week. Sometimes, you never know, honestly, but I think it's to an existing customer. I think that it's to somebody that it makes sense for them and their life of their company to acquire us. You know what I mean? For whatever reason. I don't know if they're a contractor, if it's a brand or whatever. It's just that it makes sense. Like, it's a good merger. And so I don't see us selling to somebody that's never screen printed before and they want to, buy a business and make some money. I think that would be a high probability of failure. I want this place to continue. I want it to, past me. And so I think that it needs to go, when I do sell it, it needs to go to somebody that understands screen printing. That's my point.
The way I kind of see it is like, I'm at that point right now. Like when we first started this conversation was about like diversifying a little bit. So like, I'm trying to get into that now, where I'm getting into other things like real estate and, other things in case one part of my business stuff crashes, I have something else to fall back on. But in reality, it's just kind of like, I want multiple streams of things like income coming in. So when I am at that point, I don't know if I necessarily want to sell the company or if I want to whatever, but like the plan now is to just like pass it on to somebody or something close. Like Chris and Brian have been with me since the very beginning. And me and Chris had this conversation on Thursday because we were talking about, we got together and had a powwow about things we could improve on the shop and everything else. And I told him, I was like, you're just as much of this company as I am. Like in reality, I own it. My name's on it, but like you've been here, you've struggled, you've put in the sweat and blood just like I have. So like, if I die tomorrow, like Chris takes over, or if he doesn't want it, Brian takes over. Like, that's how I see it.
Takes over a management role or takes over some sort of
company
interest. Like they would have,
I would say it would, like, if I could write I don't have a will, but like if I write a will, it's pretty much going to say, if I die tomorrow, like Chris gets the company. Chris or Brian can decide which one of them wants to run it and take it over. And then they could just pay like my normal salary or pay a certain amount.
Can I have all the little Debbies that are in the space bag in the chest freezer out back?
You can have all the snacks and a couple action figures from my office.
What were you going to say about your salary? They were going to pay that to your wife?
Yeah, like if they just paid a certain amount or they figured out some agreement of like, just make sure what normally gets paid to me or whatever goes to my family.
Mm-hmm.
Or if some kind of buyout of like, okay, X amount per month for however long, but I don't want it to go on the market. I'd rather it go to one of those guys first. And I know they would take it over. Like, I don't think either of them would pass on it and leave. But if I get older, if it's like 20 years from now or 15 years from now, and my son wants to take it over, I'd be like, all right, yeah, cool, go ahead. But
could you live broadcast a bingo game and whoever wins gets dibs?
Mm-hmm. Do like those auction things where it's like, I need to sell 200 tickets of $1,000 a piece, and the winner gets upstate merch.
You know what fascinates me most about those bingo games is I was rewatching Better Call Saul. I'm like, I thought Crink made some killer markers. Who the fuck makes those bingo pins? Those things are massive. Oh, they're like a fire extinguisher in your hand.
Have you ever played like old lady bingo, like gone to a fire hall and played bingo? No. I have. It's awesome.
Well, I mean, there's only so long you can search for Sasquatches, and it gets so cold. You got to go to the bingo hall.
I remember when I was a kid, my grandma loved bingo, and she had like a bunch of old lady buddies that she got together at the fire station or whatever, and they did bingo, like whatever it was every.
You said old lady buddies. That kind
old
of
lady buddies,
like an oxymoron,
right? But I remember they would do bingo. But the best part about it was my grandma had like no filter, like they were just talking shit to each other the whole night. And here I am, this, like little kid, like with his grandma, and his grandma's like, fucking swearing up a storm, talking shit to the lady across from her, like, fuck you. And it's just, I don't know, it's amazing. I loved it.
Did they eat cigars like the bushwhackers and drink oil?
Yeah. No, she's just down in bourbon.
Like, we clear this bingo hall out so we can get this wrestling ring up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, it was good. I don't even remember what we were talking about. We were talking about selling a company. Now we're talking about old ladies playing bingo.
This is my gift, is taking a conversation and derailing it like
off the rails. Yeah.
We might have to mute Josh somewhere along the way here.
Uh-oh.
Just like when you're gaming.
Just me
cut me off. I'm trailing it off too much. I'm like, where are the breadcrumbs going? Jesus.
Uh-huh.
So yeah.
Go ahead.
Dylan,
Do you have something? Do you have a topic?
Oh no, I was just going to say, so I was kind of bring it back. So you have a 2,000 square foot building that you're finishing out right now.
Yeah. I got 2,000. Sorry, I had a piece of ice in my mouth.
No, keep it in there. I got 2,000 square foot.
I'm getting low on the tea, so the ice is falling up. Now I got like 2,000 out there, and then I've got 2,000 in the bottom of the house, which will probably trying to decide whether I want to put a screen room in here or get like an 8-head embroidery machine. I don't know if I even have the bandwidth right now to go down the embroidery rabbit hole. I don't know. I do a lot of patch hats, but I got sewing machines for those. A little easier.
Well, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. Was I think a lot of people know you for the certain clients that you have, but like you said, it was your heroes of design and stuff that you kind of just gravitated towards and went towards. And, that's why you have some of the prints that you have and some of the patches and everything else, is because you're working with cool designers. Now, how and why and what did you do in the beginning to like go for them? Because you didn't really have experience to throw at them. You just kind of made friends with them and started working with them.
Well, one thing, probably the most, I'd say, I met my buds at Lincoln Design Company. They reached, that was probably the first like match that struck was, that was probably, that was when I was still in Texas.
Speaking of, did you watch episode 19 of the Chop Up? You're in it a whole bunch of times.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They talk about conventions and stuff that they went to, like the design cons and all that stuff. And they bring you up. They're like, yeah, here's Josh. And then here's Josh sleeping. And here's Josh doing this thing. And I was like, that fucking guy.
that was probably the meeting them. They reached out to me. I'll tell the story just how I met that or how that connected. And I don't know, maybe somebody will get some out of it. But I remember when we were in Texas, I had a bunch of the shop rags. And I just wanted to see my logo on one. I think it was like 10 o'clock at night. God, I'm sure we can all laugh about how we started the process of coating a screen, drying it, burning it. Just the whole process. But I had to see my logo on a rag. So, I got up, did all that. It was about 4 a.m, finished. And then I put it on Instagram. And I guess just they ran across it and they messaged me. And I remember I was staying at my dad's shop in Florida. We were visiting, and I remember the minute I got that message, and I just looked at my dad, and like he doesn't know anything about this world, and I just remember looking at him, going, "This is possibly the beginning of everything right here," because I tell people I only exist because of all these other people. Like I'm just a person.
Your mom and dad,
like them too. They deserve some credit, and my great grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
but it's like. That started it. And then probably my buddy Matt that created Crop Conference that was mainly run out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, which now I think it's going to be in Austin because he lives in Austin now, but he would do pop-ups. But I remember reaching out to him and like we had moved to South Carolina. I think we were here a year or so because I went his second year and the Lincoln guys were going and we had became buds. I'd done some work with them and I wanted to meet them, hang out with them. And I just remember cold sweats the whole time. Like, cause I'm an introvert at heart. And it's, I mean, I'm a salesman too at heart, but I mean, I got to be in that mode to like, I'm not naturally just going to, I mean, we could bullshit all day, but like, I'm not, you put me in a room with random people, I can make it real awkward real quick.
I understand. Fully understand.
I'm just an odd guy like that. Like, I mean, I can talk about anything, but like, we got to get it rolling. I mean, somebody's got to start this off. And I'm not usually the guy that does that. But I can pump it up though. Like once we get going, I can throw some shit out there that just gets going. But
fully understand.
Yeah, just going to crop. I mean, that was a big thing. It's just but again, when you go back and you listen to like Johnny Cupcake's origin story and different brand owners, I mean, the first thing they'll kind of tell you is to really be effective, you got to either know your demographic or you got to decide who you want to go after. And trying to go after everybody and everything, it seems like it's doable. It's not. Like, you're not going to make all the money. You're not going to have all the clients. You're not going to do the ball teams and all this. I mean, you can if you want, but every shop I know like that, I don't want to speak like that because I don't know a ton of shops, but I don't want to be that. And that was kind of the demographic and the people I wanted to work with. Now, the fact that I get to work with them and get paid for it, it blows my mind. But that was a big critical moment going to crop. My buddy Matt Dawson, he Stay Gray Pony Boy on Instagram. But I remember my buddy Tim Stiles, who was the printer at Mama Sauce, who now he's on his own with Native Screen Print in Orlando. He mentioned me to Matt, and I emailed Matt, and he's like, "Yeah, man, come on over and get a table." And man, I was by myself. Just drove the car all the way over there from Charleston, and yeah, I mean, and then after that, going to all those and Portland.
You set up a Grizzly table, right?
Just a merch table, just selling some Grizzly Wheeler stuff, and like, yeah, I mean, it's just networking. I mean, you have to get out there. I mean, it just depends on. I mean, when I was in Texas, I mean, I had to get revenue going. I remember we started going to a church because we wanted our kids to kind of be around other kids socially. Then one of the pastors invited me to play basketball with all the other pastors, and then once you get to know them and you start networking, and it just depends on what are you trying to market. Like, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but like, it cracks me up. Like, I guess it all just comes back to like, do you want to be successful? And you can mock that up however you want to, but if you want to be successful, you have to put together a good attack plan. Like, it doesn't matter whether you're selling hot dogs or whatever. It doesn't, but you do need to know who's going to buy this. Like, who can buy this? Because if I want to sell the damn thing for this much, I better find the people that can pay for it. And
who can buy what you're specializing in. Yeah.
I mean, all these patches and hats, it cracks me up. There's people that don't even know we screen print anymore. And that's like the core thing of what I don't really post a lot on Instagram anymore, but like, it's all patches and it cracks me up. This was a derivative. I only did this because I wasn't printing a lot. And I'm like, we got to get this going. We got to get revenue going. Because I can't hire anybody if I don't have any friggin' money to pay them, because I'm not taking loans.
And I think that changes over time. You know, like you're saying to be successful that you have to have this plan or this attack plan. I think that plan can change. I think that changes over the years.
Definitely can.
Maybe when you're in like the startup phase,
your priorities change. So they
definitely do. Yeah, 100%. Because maybe I remember we went after a lot of schools initially because we knew that they buy shirts and we knew that we printed shirts. Right. And so let's try and make some connections. But and so, you know, you get the presses spinning, but maybe it changes. Maybe in year 2 or 3, you run into an account and that changes everything, you know? And so I don't know. I think that changes over the years, but you hit on something really important too, is like, what do you want to be doing? What is it that you like? What demographic do you want to be in? And so, and that's tough. That's tough to think about. It seems like a lot of times I'm caught up in the day-to-day stuff, and I have to force myself to take a step back and think about what we really want to be printing, you know?
No, I definitely, I mean, as dumb as this sounds, like when I met Jeremy, I didn't do this for money. I saw it. I really liked it. And I've kind of always been weird. Well, I don't know if it's weird or not, but like,
end of sentence.
I remember people like my own father kind of labeled me a quitter. Like I'll never forget when I was like 7 or 8, he took me to football practice. They signed me up for football. We went out there and it was like spring. It was hot as shit, humid as hell in the South. And these kids, I'm thinking they're going to be playing pitch and catch. They're rolling around doing push-ups in the grass. The grass is itchy. And I'm just like, I don't want anything to do with this shit. Like, this is goofy. Like, this ain't bad. I'd rather go play tag in the neighborhood. You got to pay for this. But I kind of label me a quitter, and it's not. I've realized I'm not a quitter. What it is I've always kind of looked at things and I analyze them and I'm like, okay, I like this. Like, I like eating ice cream, but what does it take to make ice cream? And what does it take to make really good ice cream? Now, after doing that research, what do I think? How long do I think that'll take? And do I have that time? Do I have the funds? Do I have the time, which is money, to invest in trying to get good at that? I used to play drums. I got into it late, probably 17, 18. I wasn't really good. I played in some bands. I wanted to play hardcore. We were in the church hall, and a lot of people didn't like that shit because I'm beating the hell out of the drums. They're wanting to play like Third Day in Jars of Clay, and it's like, this doesn't work right. But I'm listening to Stretch Armstrong and everything and playing nuts like that. But it's funny because I was never real good. But when I started playing drums, I didn't just play drums. I learned everything about the drums to the point where the churches would give me their credit cards. They're like, this guy just knows everything about drums. Give him the credit card so we can go to the music store and outfit our church with drums. And like, that was printing. It was something that I saw because there's not a lot of things that just really fascinate me. This fascinated me. And I wouldn't say I'm an artist. I think I'm creative, but this fascinated me. And like, I want to be great at anything I try. And I looked at this and I'm like, I mean, I learn something every day. I mean, I think we all do. Like, you guys are in a whole different realm than me because I don't know how the fuck y'all do what you do. I really don't. Like, I've got kids and that's enough for me. I don't know how the fuck y'all deal. And I know y'all probably have amazing people, but like, maybe I am getting old because I'm like, other Airbnbs. I don't want a bunch
guy
of
on the porch.
I'm telling you, man. It's just like,
get off my lawn.
It's an insane skill in its own respect, how y'all wake up every day. And I know it's not even remotely easy, but like, I have realized, I mean, you always hear people say it's all about the people. And I mean, I realized it is completely about the people. As much as you don't want to accept that or maybe believe at the beginning, that is everything.
It's funny, like literally, I don't know, 4 hours ago, I was having a conversation with Eric from Night Owl on DMs or whatever. We were talking about something in one of the old episodes about, dealing with employees and, staffing and whatever else. And basically at the end of the conversation, both of us were like, I hate being a boss. Like, that was our conclusion to the story, was just like, I hate being a boss because
it sucks.
Right. Like, we're in it for what we want to do. We want to print, we want to do these things. And then inherently when you do more of it, you have to hire people and you have to like concern yourself with like their livelihoods and their lives and their shit. And eventually you never are like great at it. You're just kind of like, all right, this is something I have to do as an owner. I have to hire someone or fire someone or bring them in and talk to them about something. And it's just like, it's so exhausting. Like, it's like, that literally is on the worst part about this for me, like by far, is like dealing with the humans that are, that's horrible to say, dealing with the humans that work here when it's something that's like, you have to tell them something that's like out of their normal day of like, okay, you're doing this not correct. And then they look at you like, fuck you. And you're like, no, actually, this is not right. Like, this is how we need to do it to make it right. Do it the way I want it because I put money in your account every week. You know what I mean? Like, it sucks to do that, but it's like, sometimes you have to. And like,
this is going to turn a lot of people's ears right now, but I'm going to say it. Being in the military, and I was in the Coast Guard, I wasn't in the Marines, but I went over and got the war medals and all that. But like, there's a lot of candy asses out there. People need to start. They just need to cut the shit. A lot of people. It's getting this is, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but like, this is what we're heading towards, what you get when everybody wants to be a weenie. Like, not everybody comes from money. Not everybody has a trust fund pumping their monthly expenses into account. And I know some people who do, and that's great, but I didn't shoot out that wiener. I shot out a poor wiener. Like,
no idea what's happening right now.
I just like, well, just talking about people, like I think I made a choice a while back. Like I'm gonna go a little further in automation. I'm probably gonna get an oval out there. That's why I'm expanding the building, because that daggum oval's like 40 foot long. I got all the energy now. I've never even had this kind of energy. I've never had. Y'all need to edit the candy ass thing out. Okay, just go back and chop that.
No, I loved it. We got to keep that. Keep that in. We're gonna put it on.
Cut that.
See, Josh, me and you have had probably 10 or 15 phone calls about exactly what we just talked about, and pretty much after our whole conversation, it always boils down to the same thing, where I just say you're probably just an asshole to work for.
I'm an asshole. Like I will
not
say
in a
this,
bad
though.
way. I'm just saying that I feel like you with certain things that you're doing are a perfectionist in the things that you're doing. And it's really hard to just go out and grab somebody that you can trust to do what you're doing with the same care and concern, because it's not their company. They're just there to like get paid. Yeah. They might like printing, but like, at the end of the day, they're working 9 to 5 and getting paid, and you are like pouring your soul into it because it's yours.
I think there's some people like that, but I think there's other people that are invested emotionally and maybe not financially, but they're invested into this company because they care.
But it's not like everyday hire. It's like the unicorn.
Let me say that as well. As many candy asses as there are a lot of amazing fucking people. They're just like everyone that's worked with me, they've all left on good terms. I just look at them and say, this isn't for you. But we're all buds. Like I have never had to fire anybody. I'll burn them out, but I don't have to fire them.
I don't think everybody is. I think you're right. And I think that you can find them. And I don't think everybody's cut out to be.
It takes a lot of money and time to dig them up, though. It takes a lot of time. Sometimes you get lucky. Yeah.
It takes a lot of time, but I don't know how much. It doesn't take a lot of money, but I guess time is money, sure. But it takes a lot of time, but they're out there. And not everybody's cut out to be a manager. And I have something happened the past few weeks. So I promoted somebody into a managerial role. He was quality control, and I put him into a quality control manager. And so he's going to manage the other quality control people, which aren't that many. There's just a few. And he ran into a situation where he asked somebody to do something and they said no. And he went to the production manager and said, hey, go tell them to do that, because he couldn't get it done. And the production manager is like, nope, not going to do that. And then kind of laid into him a little bit. And then he came in here and told me about it. And I'm like, well, the production manager is right. You have to, you lost respect the minute you didn't, like you tattletaled in a sense and went to somebody else to tell them to do that thing. You have to work it out. If you're going to be a manager, you have to work it out with that person. You have to find a common ground and work it out so that when you have something that needs to be done and you can delegate that. And so I think he's probably pretty good at managing certain parts of that department, but managing people is a whole nother thing. I mean, he's going to have to learn how to do that. I don't know if it's necessarily something that's innate. You sort of have to go along and fuck up a few times and say, okay, wait, now I'm figuring this thing out. That's how it was for me anyway, because I started this not planning on managing a bunch of people. It just sort of happened.
That's what I was saying is like that shit happens and something you just have to deal with if you want to own a company. And I'm not good at it at all. Like when it comes to like
I think
confrontation,
you are.
With the confrontation shit, I am not fucking good at it.
Yeah, but you don't have much confrontation. That's just it. Like you avoid. So you somehow make it with your personality. You're not
somehow.
That's how. Well, I mean it. Like that's how you lead. You don't lead coming out like all guns blazing. You come out into the shop and if there's a situation, well, you find a solution. You're like your way. And so
right. No, I get that. I'm just saying there are times where shit gets like weird, and you have to be that. Like
you gotta embrace that awkwardness.
Well, I'm just saying sometimes like your staff will come to you and be like, hey, like this is so-and-so's doing this thing. I need you to talk to them about them being an asshole.
Right.
And it's like, oh fuck. Like that to me is the worst, is like I'm getting in between two other people's bullshit and I have to be the mediator and be like, hey, so-and-so said you're doing this and so on. And they're like, no, fuck that guy. And then the next one's like, oh no, he's a liar. It's just like, oh my God. Like,
yeah, I had that happen once years ago when somebody came in, both of them came in and said, hey, I'm going to fucking kill this guy. I'm going to beat the shit out of him. And I said, all right, both of you clock out, go outside, figure it out and come back in when you're ready to work together. I saw him sitting out up on the porch for, I don't know, about an hour, and they're like, we better go get paid. And so they came back in and figured it out, you know? I don't know.
I will say that, yeah. That's funny. I like that one.
There's a dead body in the parking lot.
Right.
I will say that, yeah, I can be intense, but like, if you give me a couple, blue airheads and some dipping sticks, I'll be the goofiest person you've ever been around. Just like, I can have fun, but like at the same time, I can be the goofiest son of a bitch you've ever met. But like, I think it's a matter of undeveloped. Like, there's so many children trapped in adult bodies. I call it Benjamin Button disease of the brain. People are going fucking backwards. They're going backwards in their maturity. It's like, we can all have fun, but when you're here, it's adult time. Like, it's time to lock in and get after it. It's like my buddy Joey that works with me and helps me. I love him. He's amazing. And like the other day, he just wasn't thinking and we have our adhesive for our pallets in little squirt bottles, because that's kind of the best way I found with it. And he was squirting it on the pallet, but almost like at an angle, like he was pissing on the pallet. And I looked at him like, what are you doing, you dingus? Hold it straight up and down, because it's splattering everywhere. He laughed and he fucking fixed it. There wasn't any offense there. There wasn't any of that. Like, I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, he just laughed. I laughed. But like, he's an adult and we goof and we have fun, but we get it done. And yeah, I don't want to be too negative about Kenny. Yes, there's a lot of amazing people out there. It's just like, there's a lot of people that need to lock in when I'm not going to say grow up. People need to lock in and just like, yeah. I don't know.
I feel like Andy said it before, is it's like, it's just t-shirts. Like, and that's the thing is like, I, as an owner, I might be in the office. I might be doing my own thing, listening to music, in a good mood, doing something. And then I can tell by certain people that there's tension in the air because, like, I don't know, like they're stressed out about the schedule or something. And I go out in the shop and I try to, like, usually it's me, like, or, Chris or somebody just like tries to like start cracking jokes or turns music on or something to like get people to fucking loosen up. And it's like, dude, it's just t-shirts. Like, it's okay. Like, this job is going to get out at some point. Like, it's fine. Like, we'll get through it. Like, calm the fuck down.
It's just t-shirts, but at the same time, it's like the other day, Joey was helping me. We were discharging a job and he went and looked back at the dryer, and I lost $700 in blank costs, like my cost out of my ass, like, it's a lot of money. I mean, $20 is still a lot of money to me, but in the grand scheme, it's not that big a deal. But it's like, I was sitting there and I had to calm down a minute because it dried in a little bit. I shouldn't have done a couple things I did. And I looked at Joey and he was upset. Like, he felt bad. Mm-hmm. And I said, you know what, Joey, that's not your fault. Josh, 3 years ago, oh God, I just said the third person. That was fucking odd. Like, but me 3 years ago would have.
Josh Wheeler would never do that.
Would have like probably driven him out of the shop. And he's amazing. But I took a breath and I'm like, and I mean this. I'm like, that's not your fault, Joey. I didn't train you properly. That's on me. Like, and I'm going to eat it. And luckily I'm in a place where that's not as devastating as it would have been 5 years ago. But like, I mean, you guys are far ahead of me on that road.
Well, what I like to do is when they mess an order up, I write their paychecks on Friday and I make them stand over me and I put like a little minus symbol and I deduct what they messed up on their paycheck. And then I do the math real quick and then I make them sign underneath it as like a shame note.
And Dylan has a standing net 90 account with the tire store because every Friday he goes out and his tires are slashed.
Right. No, I mean, I had that too. Like
Tire Rack VIP Club.
Like Zach, he's been doing awesome, like amazing at printing. Like, he stepped up from screens to do printing, and he's getting those, first year things that happen where some job he'll mess up like 3 or 4 shirts, because there was one on Friday where like he was doing hoodies or something, or he was doing tees or something, changing out the pallets, and he shut the flash off and he forgot to turn it back on. And then when he had the new pallets in to do hoodies, he didn't flash like the whole first spin, and like stuff got messed up or whatever. And he was like, you could tell he was like so upset, and he was kind of like, I feel like just like, fuck, I did a bad job and like all this other stuff. And I was like, dude, it's totally fine.
That's the X factor right there. Is like, my buddy Joey is like, I love Joey because he cares and he tries his ass off and he's gaining experience. And like, I can work with that all day. I just, they're hard to find. They're just they're really hard in Charleston. Like they're out there, but yeah, I mean, you guys have figured something out. Like whether fate puts you in line with certain people or like you manage it. And like, I really respect the shit out of y'all for real. I'm not going to kiss y'all's ass anymore on this podcast now. Fuck y'all.
I like it. I'm waiting for the tongue.
I better get some Whataburger gift cards after.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
I don't know that we figured it out, honestly. I think that, I mean, there's days I scratch my head and say, what am I doing? I mean, I thought that same thought that you just said a minute ago that, this is my fault really. When something went wrong pretty recently, I was like, it was totally my fault. I wanted to blame the other person. Like why did this happen? But it's totally my fault because it always comes back to me. So I don't know. I think it's, I don't know that we'll ever get everything right. We have so many, like when you have a new person, it's the worst too, because we have a few new people here right now. And I tell them, it seems like once a week, I'm like, look, we've got a lot to work on this. Like somebody was in a department last week and I saw they were working it. And I was like, look, this doesn't flow perfectly here right now. And here's my vision. I want them to know like, this isn't perfect. I don't know if it ever will be, but we're always working on something here. And
I think it's the pursuit is everything. It's like everything. Like I told like perfection. I teach my kids like it's not an attainable destination, but it's the pursuit of it that makes the difference.
And that getting better every day part.
Yeah, if you're pursuing it, you're going to land far above average, and so you're going to separate yourself. Like, and you'll probably have a good life. And then try and share that shit a little bit with people that aren't figuring it out. I don't know.
Yeah.
But this might. I hope this. I don't know if this podcast is going to get the highest ratings. I feel like we're like Dylan's in his freaking Dr. Seuss chair over there, probably sitting on a heating pad.
Dude, I had somebody not that long ago saw me in a video or something like full body, and they're like, "Oh, you're way taller than I thought you were." I was like, this is a fucking super high back chair. This isn't like a normal chair where I'm just a tiny human in this massive chair.
Freaking like, Bugsy Bogues over there.
Like 6'2".
Well, Josh, I'm having a good conversation. I'm enjoying our conversation.
Okay.
I should say. So
yeah,
I don't know if it's going to get.
There's a lot of honesty and shit in this right now of like stuff that's just like real.
Nobody wants to hear that shit nowadays. Let's make some TikToks.
It's not for them. It's for us. It's for us to have a therapy session on a Sunday. So if they want to listen to it, cool. If not, there's always, other podcasts, I guess.
So let me ask you guys before you get the next question is like, what are y'all seeing? I mean, I guess the unemployment stuff's run out, but like, what are y'all seeing out there? Are y'all starting to see a hunger again a little bit, or like, is it still in purgatory? Like just hiring or just being like, oh, we're growing. We're like, it's getting positive again. It's not as stressful. Like, shit's getting out the door every day again. Like,
I feel like I don't know, when it first came on, there was obviously everybody trying to get that free money.
Yeah.
But I feel like now people are starting to realize like they got to get back to work. But I feel like in reality, I might have been looking in the wrong places. Like for years, I was so used to like the word of mouth or like friends of people who work here or whatever. And I was just like always posting on my personal Facebook, like, hey, Upstate's hiring. And I would get like a ton of people that would send me an email, but it was always like, I don't know, I don't want to say like regular people, but it was just like people in my bubble. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like people relatively close to the people that follow me's bubble. And I think I did it. I might have done it because Andy did it, but like we did the Facebook, like paid classifieds, like I guess it is.
Yeah.
It's a job posting. Yeah.
It's a job posting, but it's like paid. So it goes to like anybody it's targeted. So like you boost it. So like I paid like $100 or whatever. And I got like a shitload of applications, but they were like legit applications of people
really
specifically looking for that job. And it blew me away, like in reality, because normally I would post and like on my personal, and I would say I would get like 100 people apply. Like 95 of them are going to be like people that should not be working here or people that are just like not going to fit in or whatever. But like when I did the Facebook thing, it was like very targeted, like, if you're into design, you're into screen
I might
printing,
have
you're
to
into
try
whatever.
that then. Like,
And
that's
for
pretty good.
$100, like Andy, you got how many? Like, well, I mean, you're in a bigger city than I am, but you got a shitload when you did yours.
Yeah, I put $800 on mine though, because I
put $100 on mine.
And so you can put whatever amount. I just looked at the reach and I was like, I really need some people. And so, yeah, we got a lot of applications. I got over 100. And like you said, though, not all of them were, no,
they're not
specific
all fit.
to, they're not all good fits either, but you go through, you filter through and you find some. And I had a couple people come in and they worked out. And so
I just like the way that they do it, like the application, and like it shows you, like it lets you ask them questions.
Keeps it organized.
All organized and everything. And then, yeah, it was nice to just be like, all right, like you can finally start a conversation with this person. And I think I got super lucky. Like we were just talking about that the other day. Like I got Morgan for the front desk and I got Rich and screens, and they're both amazing. Like we love them and they're great. And it really worked out. And they were two totally random people that I would have never gotten off of my just normal Facebook post, and they're amazing. So I don't know, for me doing that, it definitely helped, but I am seeing more and more, like we've had probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 people just in the past like month or two, just come in the front door and ask if we're hiring, which wasn't happening before. So I feel like it's starting to come back, but I would try the Facebook thing if you're really looking for people.
I mean, I'm going to try that. I mean, one other tactic, because I've talked to several friends that do workshops on like a Saturday morning, they create quite a bit of revenue, is just doing a screen print class and then cherry picking out of that class and offering a job. And then basically you're paying me to hire you. Like, right. Because the time, the money thing is like, I mean, I'm in a place where I'm managing way more than I should be. So that time is at a premium, and like, I've got to find time hacks. Like I'm going to make a video series. I literally bought all this shit off Amazon and I have never opened it. Like all the light, all the camera, DSLRs, and it's just sitting in boxes to make professional looking videos. Like I have a really crappy one. I don't know if I sent you, Dylan, about patches. I only made it for a friend, and like one of my fingernails is fucked up in it. And like, I've sent it to a couple other people just to like explain it in 2 minutes. And they're like, oh my God, that explained everything. And I just need to make a pro because it's terrible.
You made a video for me once about the Mr. Clean Magic Erasers.
What's that one pretty good? I don't remember.
Yeah,
but you guys are bringing up a lot of dumb shit. Like I don't know what's going on in my brain. But
you made a video for me once that showed me what a piece of shit my Cobra was, how much better your press was.
How is that Cobra doing? Like, is it pretty good?
It still runs. Yeah, still runs.
Well, that's one review. It still runs.
Cobra.
No, what I will say though is a little like spotlight for Rock is having, like, I'm talking about probably getting an oval just because I'm looking at just for the modular properties of it, and just the I mean, it's freaking pricey, but I think it's going to get the job done, and having cool downs and all that. But the Rock, like it's a really good machine. The problem I see with M&R isn't the product. To me, it's maybe over-engineered, and I keep talking to people and these fucking texts are disappearing left and right. So if you have something over-engineered, you can't find text, that's a problem. Or the younger guys maybe don't have all that wisdom to come in and get it done, where like, Rock has this guy named Buck Primo, who's just a badass. I mean, he can solve almost any problem you got, but I do like the Rocks. Like I really do. I just think they scared me a little bit at first, because it's like, I felt like it was maybe Windows to a Mac, M&R being the Mac, but it's actually the reverse to me at this point. It's just the simplicity of running it and the physical wear running it. Now the Cobra I know stays up the table, but I just love that machine, and the footprint of it is, yeah.
There's plus and minuses for both, and like reality, I mean,
there definitely is.
Me and Andy are M&R, but it's kind of that whole Ford versus Chevy thing where it's like they're both totally fine. They're both great. It's just people get into the rivalry thing.
Yeah.
But like talking to you and talking to other people, I feel like a lot of people that the Rock seems to be working really well with are people that are really into water base. And that's where you were at. And, Eric and all these other people that were all for Rocks because of the the things that those presses specifically had that helped them out with water base. So I think when you were talking to me about, either getting a Cobra or getting the rock stuff, I feel like what you had to say made sense with going with rock versus M&R.
Yeah.
And I feel like you should just go with what works best for you, for sure.
I definitely probably hit you up soon, because I'm depending on which one I get first. Like if I just stay with the rock I have, I probably might pick up a new Sprint, because I don't know if rock's quite there yet. Now I have only talked to a few people, but their dryers, I don't know if they're quite there yet. Like I think that
I've seen a ton of shops. I've seen a ton of shops with all rock everything, and then they have Sprint dryers.
Yeah, I keep seeing that more and more, so it makes me curious for sure.
They figured it out.
Guess what happened to us? Well, it happened when I was on vacation, which is awesome. But I
don't know what that is.
Well, I barely do, but I got to squeeze in a little vacay, not last week, but the week before. And I think it was Wednesday. I open up my laptop and I'm looking at emails, and I noticed that like my emails are firing off, like over 100 of them. And so we had a cyber attack. Somebody got in and used our email and blasted a bunch of my contacts. And so we figured it out. We changed the passwords, and, I guess that kicked them out. Right. But what I didn't know, and what I found out late this last week, was that they were continuing to use my name and my signature, and they were corresponding with some of our customers, and they were acting like me, like they actually worded some shit like I would say it. And they got one customer to pay them because they said, hey, this is, we've changed our, the way we receive payments, and we're going to go to ACH, And somebody sent them $3,250. And I lucked out, and I saw somehow a notification, because they set up a rule in Outlook. They set up a rule that deletes emails right away, and that email, if it contains whatever, just goes direct to them. Well, I somehow saw an email that this bill was going to be paid. And I emailed that customer, say, hey, wait a second, is this real? Because I never said that. And they stopped payment on that somehow, like the last minute, and it didn't send. Or I guess it did send, but they stopped payment on their other end. And I'm like, fuck. And so I bring this up because I spent Thursday and Friday dealing with it again, and also trying to find a company to come in and make us secure. And
what ended up happening? Do you know, like, how they got your shit? Well, I answer this first. Like, what do y'all use? Like do y'all use apps or something? Or do y'all, like, I just use Google directly, like pretty much for everything. Google Drive, Gmail. Yeah. Like, do y'all use third-party apps and stuff as another layer of?
We use Missive, which is an app, right? But that's not how they got through. They got through Outlook. And for what I understand, and I don't know this very well, and I'm learning a lot, and I can maybe share more after next week. Monday, tomorrow at 11 a.m., a team is coming here, and they're gonna. I think it's a few phases, really. Phase one is to get all of our passwords in one spot, because it's just like, it's stupid. It's willy-nilly, password this, password Shirk Kong, like it just doesn't even make sense. We need to have like 99 character.
You don't use screen printing 1, 2, 3 for your bed?
Basically. Like some of it's a little better than that, but I mean, we need to get our shit together and become more secure. And we have, there's a bunch of people that are on our computers all day long, emailing back and forth. And it doesn't have to be, there's different ways to get in. You click on something and then they're in, and then they can get to mine, and it's a disaster. And so the first thing we're going to do is make sure that we get our passwords straight away and locked in, and that we're more secure. And like, I'm not very good at this stuff. And we didn't even have like 2-factor authentication. I don't even know if it's called that. Is it really called that?
Yeah. Like where they have your number, like Google.
Phone number 2. It's like exactly. And so like, some of us don't even have that. And so we need different layers of security. And
well, the one thing on Google too is like if anybody logs into your email or whatever from any kind of different device, it automatically sends you an email and says,
yeah,
so-and-so logged in from this thing. Was it you? So
I love Google. Like I changed to Google Drive. Like I have clients hit me up like, do you still have our artwork? Like it's all in the cloud. Like it's all, I used to keep it all on hard drives. Like,
so didn't we?
And ever since I shifted it, I mean, I'm not using Post-its, sticking them on my forehead like Dylan, but
well,
these digitizers have taken it to a new level, Andy. They fucking hacked you. Sons of bitches.
Yeah. That's
that
what they
it
did
is?
is they hacked Andy and they just hit up all his customers like, do you need better digitizing?
You want a digitized eagle?
Yeah.
America.
I ran into something this past week and me and Andy, I called Andy for advice on it, where we have a prospective new customer that is going to be wanting to do like really big numbers. And I called Andy and I was like, oh, fuck, like, what do you do? Because I know he has a customer that, gives them a specific amount of stuff and a big amount of stuff at certain times. And I was like, what do you do as far as like staging it or storing it or whatever? Because one of the things they were asking, they're like, well, what if we want to order 10,000 pieces of this print and then we want you to ship us 2,000 like this week or this month and then 2,000 the next month or whatever? Can you store the other stuff? And like, I was like, yeah. So now I'm trying to figure out storage. So pretty much what it boiled down to is I think I'm going to buy 2 semi-trailers and park them out at the end of the building and build a ramp to them and a roof over it. That way I can roll right out of the door with a pallet jack, go into a trailer, take out a couple pallets, bring it back into the building. So I'm trying
just
to
like
find
the pine straw at Home Depot.
Yeah. So I think that's what we're doing. I've contacted a couple places for quotes to get trailers, but it's pretty crazy to try to figure out space, especially like
have you watched
right now.
Have you watched Cocaine Cowboys?
I see it on Netflix.
Oh my, no, you need to watch the original Cocaine Cowboys, but you could pack them like the cocaine bricks and just string them on the roof and they'll be protected from the elements and everything.
It's one of those things like we have customers right now, like some of the breweries we're working with that are just like, yeah, we want to order like 4,000 hoodies and a couple of different designs on different hoodies or whatever. And it's like, fuck, dude, that's a lot of pallets. Like people don't realize.
You could probably talk to your distributor and tell them, just put that shit over in the corner. Just put yellow tape on it. Don't touch
it. I'm okay. Well, the thing is that's a normal order and just getting it here and printing it. And it's just like owning your own building and not having extra space. It's like, it's one of those things like I was going to ask you with your current space, like, are you planning on having like a bunch of extra room just for moving shit around?
Well, I mean, I'm actually considering just keeping the unit I'm moving out of in town because it's 2,500 square feet just for possibly doing fulfillment out of, because we're offering it to certain clients if we know they move shit. I'm not a storage facility.
That's the exact same thing that we're doing. We're just,
and I mean, I only pay I think he wants to go to $1,650 a month, but I mean, it's a write-off and it's a freaking fat space to just stack shit in.
Yeah. Well, I went and visited a shop with M&R we were in Tennessee. And that's what he did. He had like a facility just for printing, and he had like 3 facilities that were just for fulfillment and storage. Like he's like, oh, I found a really good deal on this building over here, so I bought it, and now it's just like open, and he can just store stuff in there. And then he bought this huge warehouse that's like all fulfillment now, and it's like super nice.
You probably could like up where you're at. I mean, I don't know where the real estate's at. You would probably be surprised.
Right now, it's super high. But luckily where I'm at, like our actual road is like kind of a industrial road. And I say that because there's only 2 businesses on the road and they're both big buildings. One's me and one's directly across the street. And my building was an old, off the railroad agway. And this building owned a couple buildings across the street because right directly across the street was a way station. So it's like a big building where the floor in it is actually a weigh station. So they pulled the truck in and it would weigh on a scale of like what grain or whatever they had.
Have you ever found lot lizards in your shop in the morning?
This is what I mean, Josh. Knock it off.
Sorry.
So there's that
documentary
building
on Amazon called Lot Lizard. Just let you.
There's that building, Josh.
Just say yes. You found some.
Yes, Josh. Yes.
All right.
There's that building, and then across the street is an old building that's falling in, and there's like a fence around it and everything. So I kind of think I might buy that property if it comes up. So that
did you get my text about large Marge trailer sales? Did you get that text?
Yes.
Okay,
I did.
Just wanted to see if you got that.
Sometimes I see certain texts of yours and I laugh real quick, and then I put my phone back in my pocket.
Just give
that's a great solution, right?
Butthead.
That's a good solution, though, right? Because you don't want to have a building a mile away or whatever. You want to be able to go grab a pallet of shirts.
I want it right across the street.
Easy access. Yeah, you want it right there. And so that's your solution. I think that's like one of the biggest overlooked spots in a shop, really, is just space.
Just empty space.
Empty space. Because, and I was trying to do an equation in my head while you guys were talking about like like for every square foot of production, what percentage do you need of just empty space? And I came up with like 20%, probably between 20.
It's like a lot of people don't talk about it, and they always find out the hard way. Like they'll buy a shop or whatever. Like Matt from Relentless, like he sent me a text yesterday that was showing me his floor plan for his new space, because we were talking to them last week. Whatever. He's like, "What do you think about this?" And the nice thing I saw about his floor plan is there was a lot of empty space. Like he had everything laid out the way he had it, but like half the shop was just open area.
He texted me that floor plan too, and you know what my response was?
The golf cart parking.
I said, I don't like where you have the golf cart parking.
Right. Yeah. I said the same thing. I asked him, I was like, where are the ain'ts going to go? Where the golf cart parking is?
Well,
but the thing is, the truth of it is like I said, like even if you're doing it's not a massive order, but even if you're doing 1,000 tees or 1,000 hoodies or whatever, it's like, what do you do logistically to move them around? Because what if you're printing front and back, or you're printing 3 locations on that thing? It's like, do you print the whole pallet? Okay, so this is a better example. If it's like 3 or 4 pallets, do you print a whole pallet front and back and then move that pallet over to shipping? Or do you do all 4 pallets fronts and then all 4 pallets backs? It's like, here we do a pallet, one pallet completely finished, it goes to shipping. 1 pallet completely finished, it goes to shipping, because it's easier to move those boxes and fold and put it back in the box or whatever than it is to do 4 pallets worth, put them all back in the box, take them all back out of the box.
Insanity to me. Oh my God.
What happens when you're getting 100 boxes a day, and that one day you only check in 75, and then you get another 100 boxes. So now you got 125, and then you get the same thing kind of happens, and it just starts to pile up. And where do you put that shit?
You just got to get them checked in that day.
No, but let's say you can't, because shipping and receiving is gone for a half day.
Then you get your ass in there after hours as the owner, and you count in those other 20 boxes.
Well, that would be a perfect time to go to our listener question, which is hits on this point. And what was it? Hold on. There's 3. Favorite number 70.
The bottleneck one?
Oh,
or the.
Yeah. So how do you guys right the ship when you get backed up with orders? Who'd that come from, Dylan? You forgot to tell me that part.
You were supposed to write it down. Now that defeats the point of us writing them down. Now I got to go back and look.
Well, while he's looking, Josh, so what do you do when your production schedule is stacked? How do you get out of it?
Work longer hours and pay more money to motivate people. Just go full incentive. Like, I'm going to give away more money than I wanted to on this, but this shit's got to get in the box and out the door. It's about
right. I think it goes like this. I think it's half of that and half, who can we bump out? Like, is there an order? What order, which orders can we move to tomorrow or the next day or next week or whatever, so that we can get this one done, because it's going to involve some overtime, but also it seems like you can push like some jobs around and move some jobs around, but every once in a while you get stuck. That's for sure.
We've got, luckily, I'm sure there's times where it pisses me off. We got really great clients. Like, and the first thing they do when they email me is like, I know you're busy, but like, how long is this going to take? And Honestly, I think there's a little safety in what's happening right now because there's a shakedown happening. And if you do a good job, I think it's going to get that much harder and harder to find people that can just deliver and get it done. Now, it may take a little longer. I mean, the two things no one ever asked me anymore is turnaround and price, because there's kind of a thing where if you ask me those or annoy me with those, you get on what's called the Grizzly Ghost list, and then I just don't talk to you anymore. Because, I mean, you're a nickel holding up a dollar at that point. Like, I want to help everybody, and I want to make everybody happy. But, yeah, that's definitely something I'm learning as I grow is, like, you know, I never understood that. What, nickel holding up a dollar? That's stupid. What does that mean? Like, I mean, I want a vacation at some point. I want to get out. I want to take a long weekend once in a while. That'd be nice.
Well, I think like you said, Andy, in reality, it was kind of like what happened to me this week. It was like we looked at the schedule and we were ahead enough. But if there were certain jobs that even if we wanted to take the job that we had on schedule, the first thing we would do is call those customers and be like, hey, you know, is it cool if your job goes out a day past what we said it was going to go out or whatever? So we would contact the customers that we could slightly move. Or even if it was just a busy week and we knew we weren't going to get through the whole thing, that we would just contact certain customers and be like, is it okay? We just want to be upfront with you. We don't want it to be late and then have to explain to you when you call pissed off, why is my order late? We want to let you know up front, because 99.9% of the time the customer is cool with it. They're like, yeah, thanks for the call. No worries. Get it done when you can get it done. And then, or you just fucking buy everyone pizza or Chinese or whatever, and you work an extra couple hours every day and to get everything done. That's
yeah, sometimes both.
We do. Yeah.
I don't know. I just think, yeah.
Go ahead, Josh. You just think?
No, I just think Amazon fucked us all, and the general public better just get used to this. It's just how, with the labor problem and all that. I mean, I just think for the foreseeable future, I mean, the first hour of my day every day now is literally just going back through orders, trying to find stock somewhere. And it's not fun. It's just the time eaten up, and it's just the state of things, the shortages and just all that insanity happening. And I don't know when it's going to end. I mean, I call these manufacturers and I'm like, do you have a projection? 2022? Awesome. I'll write that one down. Thanks.
I have this reel saved on my phone. That's basically exactly what you just said, the Amazon thing.
Next time you get upset with a small business for not shipping your order fast enough, please don't compare them to Amazon. Amazon has 1.2 million employees, hundreds of fulfillment centers, and an army of robots to get you your order in 2 days. We have Doug.
It's true. It's like people are like, whoa, what the fuck? And it's like, dude, we're a small business of like 10 to 12 people. Sorry, like, we're doing what we can. You came here because you want what we have.
I mean, I think maybe it'll do a good thing. Maybe it'll bring it back in a good way to people appreciating like quality and just doing a good job, because we've gotten so far from people giving a shit. Well, some people. I speak in generalizations, but just, I don't know, maybe it'll be good in that sense, because I really love our clients and I feel like they appreciate us. Yeah. And we try our ass off for them. And I mean, that's all I can do. And it's worked so far. And I mean, I feel very lucky or blessed that it's still going, because every Monday I'm one of those people I think it's all going to end. Like, there's not going to be any emails. It's just going to end. It's all going to be over. I got this house to pay for now. I got all this shit. Like, oh God.
All right, Dylan, next question is favorite unproductive thing you do at the shop.
I know what you're going to say mine is.
Y'all go first. I got to think about this.
I would say mine is either, it's not YouTube. I knew you were going to fucking say YouTube about me. I do that in the morning while I'm hanging out before everyone gets here. It's probably, I can't say it's totally unproductive either, but it's just looking at my phone. Like, I am 100% guilty of just looking at my phone a lot of the day, but a lot of times it's like DMing a customer or texting a customer or whatever. But a lot of time it's just farting around looking for dumb memes that I send you two assholes. So it's hard to not do it. Like, I could be in the middle of DMing a customer something, and then I go back to the home screen and it's like Chris literally just sent me something 2 seconds ago. It's like, a Hot Pockets box that's the flavor is called wet fart. Like I look at that for like 5 minutes and then I forward it to a couple other people. And it's
I just
like,
want the life of the guy that photoshopped that, because I don't know if I'll ever know what that's like ever again. I just wish I could zone out and just fart around, but my fucking brain just never, like a pinball machine that no one can get to the plug in the wall. Just unplug it.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I think we all have that. Andy, what do you do?
I think my favorite is, besides looking at the memes that Dylan sends me, would be just talking to other shops throughout the day. Whether it's just text or DMs or whatever. And because, I know I get random ones that says like, that'll just say, some of them be funny. Some will be like, oh, fuck, this happened. Or some of them be my compressor exploded, and you
Tyler.
can just relate. Yeah. And
He
you can
called
just
me
relate.
this week too.
And you're like, oh shit, like, then I think of mine and I'm like, did I have it serviced recently? But, that's probably I don't know if I had to choose. I
thought you just plugged them in and let them run until they start smoking.
Tyler called me. What was he? He was on vacation or headed out of town or something. He was like, my staff just called me and told me that my air compressor is smoking and there's a ton of oil pouring out of the top of it.
He asked me if that was normal.
He's like, he's like, have you ever had that problem?
I will say this about those Liberty bargain canvas totes. I think the 8502 or whatever. They're amazing totes, but this is the second time this happened where the handle caught the flash. Those suckers will burn easy. Like it was on fire, the handle. It just started catching and we smelled something. I'm like, I know it's the handle because it happened before, but like, man, I was like, this could burn a damn shop down because they catch so easy.
I don't know what, I think it was a Liberty bag, but I don't remember what style it was, but this was years ago.
I love Liberty totes. Just let me say that. But
yeah, we had a whole order. I don't remember. It was like a couple hundred totes or something. We printed the whole thing. We ran through the dryer, but we didn't realize that the handles were like mostly like, I don't know what they were, like poly or nylon or something. Every single handle by the time it got to the end of the dryer was like 5 times smaller and shriveled and hard. And I was like, fuck, because it's how you didn't anticipate.
So I got around that one time. You can do two things. You probably figured it out too. Fold them inside the tote. That kind of works, but there's still some exposed part. So then I just threw test prints on top of them, like on top of the handle, so
we just stopped buying those and we got the ones with the canvas handle.
Well, there's that too.
I've never had that one.
All right. The third and final question. Do you wait until you badly need an auto, or do you get one and grow into it?
You can apply this answer to any aspect of your business or life. Ain't none of it fucking algebra. It's all basic math. And if the numbers work, do it. If they don't work, don't do it. Because if you're busy enough, you'll be able to get an auto because the numbers will work, unless your pricing is completely fucked up.
Well, the other part of it is just kind of like with you though too, is it's like I was the other way. I got an auto when we needed it. Like I didn't get an auto and then it was like, oh, this is nice and comfortable and let's just keep going this way.
I mean, that's why I did it. I mean,
right. But I'm just saying we did manual for so long till we couldn't do manual anymore. And then we got an auto, but it's like, if you're a single operator shop dude, and you're just like, I want to be able to see my family once in a while. Yeah. Then it's kind of like, all right, let's get an auto just for quality of life.
So I mean, it's quality of life, but the efficiency and the numbers.
Right.
Like, I mean, like I just bought a rotary screw compressor. I should have bought it years ago, but I started with a shitty Husky from Home Depot that I purposely bought that I was going to run until it burned up. Then I got the Quincy 7.5 horse. Now I got the rotary screw, but every decision I've made in my business has been based on my energy, caps, because that has controlled every decision I've ever made. Now I don't have those caps. So now I can make more efficient decisions if the numbers work. But I love hearing that question all the time. It's like, look at your day. Look at the time it's taking. Nickel holding up $1. It's that simple. Like it's all basic math. People always ask that question.
Andy?
Unless handmade is your slogan, or you want to be.
No one gives a shit about handmade anymore. They just want their shit.
Well, unless that's your slogan, hand pulled, then my answer would be, which is going to be a chapter in my book, automate, automate, automate.
I would say if you're marketing handmade, you're probably never going to go public because you're not making any money. Like, I don't know, unless you're in like the middle of Kansas and you got your
artisanal hand-pulled silk screen printing.
There's just certain things that like it sounds good, but like like I said, I got no inheritance coming. I got to take care of my family, so we're going to go ahead and get it done.
I mean, I think I made a little dough running a manual. However, I knew that it wasn't sustainable. I knew that I couldn't
That's a
last.
perfect point. It's not sustainable. Like if you want to grow and keep moving forward, like you got to get it out the door, and the time is the money. I hate all these phrases I've said through this show repeatedly just to let everyone know.
Time is
like
money.
it is what it is my number one hated fucking quote of all time. Like we got to come up with something.
The best thing is you can literally say that to anything. You're like, well, it is what it is. It's all right,
Josh.
We still love you.
We still love you. And we're wondering also do you have any questions for us?
What happened to Inksoft? What happened to the Inksoft question?
Oh, well, they're not a sponsor anymore.
Bail out? What the heck?
We just never, they were a sponsor of ours. The first year they helped us start this whole thing, but I don't know, when it came to the new year, it was a misconnection. Well, no, that's what it was. A misconnection.
It wasn't a lost connection. It was the fact of we made an agreement in the beginning that we only wanted to work with companies that we really liked and whatever. And Inksoft jumped on board first thing to help us out. And that was like, hell yeah, that's awesome. But we made an agreement with them that like, hey, we'll do it for X amount of time. And then after that, we'll reevaluate. And then we had, GSF and Monarch and Easyway and all these people, that kind of came along too. And then we also didn't want to feel like we were whoring ourselves out. So we kind of capped it off. And we actually had a decision not that long ago that we were like, hey, Inksoft came to us again and was like, hey, we want to do this again. And we were like, hey, we don't want to have 95 sponsors so that it's 20 minutes of the beginning of the episode is just talking about sponsors. So it's like, maybe after some of these other ones don't want to work, if they eventually don't want to work with us again, we'll hit you up. So it's just kind of like, we didn't want to cheapen it. So that's why. Long story short.
Well, I'll say Frank's screens are amazing. I don't know if he's a sponsor. Like the
you don't
GSF,
know.
Like I talked to him on the phone. He's a cool guy too.
He is a cool guy. So questions for us.
Well, the only one I could really pop in my head right now because I'm bad on the spot, but like, what do you give me a fear you have for the business in the future and what you think a possible solution for it is, whether it's things going digital. Like you guys go to, like, I want to go to a screen print show. I haven't been to one yet of that, like ISS or anything. If they ever fully happen again, like, yeah.
Dylan, what, you got any fears?
Where are things going with our industry, basically?
I think definitely if you're just saying industry wide, what's happening, I think more and more fulfillment based business and hybrid printing is probably the next biggest thing to get into. The thing is too, is a lot of these people are, if you're getting more and more into fulfillment, a lot of these big customers, like it could be a big touring band or whatever that want to work with you to do fulfillment. A lot of the artwork nowadays is them making shit on their phone. They'll take a picture of something and they'll add 4 or 5 Instagram filters and they'll be like, hey, this is what I want on the front of my shirt. And it's like to screen print that and to constantly be re-upping stock and fulfillment is a big pain in the ass. So if you can go out and get a digital squeegee or a Maverick or whatever to do a hybrid printing where you're printing, you're putting up 4 screens, like 2 whites and a clear and whatever, and you're just digitally printing the whole thing on the front. That's saving a ton of time and money and just cranking stuff out. So we were just talking about that the other day. We had an order. Me and Andy talked about it in pregame about doing CMYK stuff. And it's like, we did this big order that was all CMYK. And it was like, after that order, everybody's like, so when is that digital squeegee coming? Because it was just like, it was just one of those things. Like you need to get the inks flowing in order to get the print to look right. And then if you stop, like the palettes cooled down and they're not blending the same way because while you're running busy, they're kind of pre-curing because the pallets are hot. And then if you cool them down, it looks slightly different. So it's like you got to run it 3 revolutions to get it back to it. It's like with digital squeegee, it's like printed. And it's like, cool. That would be nice. So I feel like that's where we're headed in the next probably year or two, is to just invest in maybe a digital squeegee and just use it as a tool to do jobs like that or to do more fulfillment stuff. But my biggest fear is to just, if I had a fear, I guess is, I don't know if it's a big fear, but it's just kind of like that whole thing. It's that whole Amazon thing, or, you know, customers of mine that we've built relationships with, find a company that's ahead of us and getting things to them faster or better or whatever. So, I mean, it's not really a big fear. I'm pretty comfortable with what we're doing. I just feel like it's, I don't know, it's in the back of my mind of like, I constantly want to make things better and innovate and whatever. Yeah. So I don't know. It is what it is. I just see what I did there. I threw in.
I'm going to have a reverse of this question. If this is how we're going to end it, leave it on a happy note. It's kind of a sad, happy note, but you answer this one.
We're not ending yet.
Okay. My bad then. Well, then I'll let you percolate on this. I'm going to let Andy tell me something you miss in a happy sense. Like
I miss about printing? That's
changed. Like, well, anything from your business or something, maybe in the early days, but think about that for a minute. Let Andy answer it, but something you miss in a happy way, but it's not coming back. Like,
right.
Nostalgia.
So my biggest concern right now is supplies. So I mean, you probably heard too about the white ink thing, the titanium, the O2 TT, whatever, is in short supply, and white ink is a thing. And so like my fear would be that I can't get white ink, or I can't get ink, or I can't get emulsion. And if I can't get emulsion, then we all need to go fucking home. Yeah. You know, like we're done. And so I joked about, because there's one guy here that really wants to start using capillary film. Like, well, can we get that? You know, like, how are we going to make a screen if we can't get emulsion? How are we going to print? I guess we would just say, sorry, we can't underbase anything anymore. That might be a good thing. So I don't know. I mean, I guess you survive. I guess the companies that figure it out, they adapt and they figure something out. But if you can't get supplies, not just t-shirts, I mean, but like actual supplies, you know, how do you move forward as a company? And so I've never even thought about that, you know, before. It's just a crazy thought, isn't it? That you can't get.
Well, I've been ordering thousands of hats. I have thousands of hats still left to me, unattributed to any client, because I saw this kind of happening. And like I told my wife, I'm like, if we can't process invoices, we can't generate revenue. And then we're sitting here in line with all these other people trying to get these loan PPE and all this crap, this pimp juice from Uncle Sam, which I don't want to be in bed with any more than I have to be, like personally. But yeah, I don't like Uncle Sam as a pimp you don't play with.
I still feel like a lot of it's conspiracy. Like I just want to believe that. Me and Andy had this discussion a little while ago.
What do you mean conspiracy about what? Like, what do you mean?
I just feel like it's I don't know. It's hard because
about supplies.
Yeah. Supplies. I feel like it's like one of those things where they're like, oh yeah, we're running out. And then everyone freaks the fuck out and goes out and buys a ton of ink and everything and stocks up on everything. And they're like, cool, thanks for all the money. And then
no, I mean,
nothing
it is
happens.
real. Like
3 or 4 months later, they're like, "Oh yeah, we're out of red." And everybody buys a shitload of red.
I don't know about the inks, but the hats is real. Like I know the hats. They'll be like, "I have this." I'm like, "Send all of it," because there's none out there. We're doing a lot of hats.
I heard a certain hat manufacturer has completely abandoned shipping containers and they're going air, like they're flying their.
Oh, that's great. Now they should go up fucking double in price.
They're going to go up in price, but they're going to fly their shit. They're just totally bypassing the however long, whatever's happening with shipping, they're bypassing it.
Well, that's what Independent did. Remember that story he told us about?
He did tell that story.
Getting stuff. He's like, yeah, we rented like 747s or something and flew a ton of stock.
That's smart though. I mean, yeah. No, that supply thing. I mean, I haven't quite seen it with inks. Again, I only use water-based. I mainly use Magna And I haven't seen any shortages yet. And I was talking to Matsui about the Jesse guy. He's super cool about sending me some stuff to try out because I feel like it's maybe the price point is a little lower. I don't know how they perform because it's been years since I've used them. So I've used all of them: Matsui, Virus, freaking CCI, all of them. And hopefully it doesn't happen. I haven't seen it yet with the
I just ordered a full Matsui kit.
Yeah. I mean, I would like when people ask me what the difference, I would say the difference between like Plasol and water-based. Water-based is like real time. You cannot. I really had some breakthroughs a few weeks. And I'm friends with Colin at Lone Mountain, and I talk to him a lot and nerd out about the stuff, and he's really in it. I mean, he goes to Bangladesh and he does consulting, and it'll blow your freaking mind. I mean, they're printing like 10 screens for white over there. It's crazy. But yeah, the water base is I really had some breakthroughs, but it is about controlling the environment, and you just can't fuck around. Like, you've got to really keep it consistent.
I thought this supply thing was just for little guys like me, but apparently it's everyone. And we print for a massive shop every week, and I had their production manager call and say, hey, because they were allocated too. And they're like, hey, where you guys, where is another source for ink? Because we need it. And so it's that bad. So I hope that doesn't last long. I hope that everybody has ink to print with, and I hope that we get out of this soon. I don't know. It's
I will say this as a positive note. Like, being in the government, having a top secret clearance, and seeing how smart and how dumb some of these people can be. I think as dumb as a lot of these people are in Washington, they're realizing on this, wherever we're going with this virus, is like, if you shut us down again, you're going to kill this country, because you've already jacked the supply chain up so bad with these delays. Like, I think they're dumb enough that they're smart enough, as dumb as they are, to realize it's going to be a little rocky, but we got to keep this shit going, because we're all connected. We really are in this country, not just printing, like, all of it. Like, think about the people working at the ink plant. Think about people working at Saudi and all these places making scream it. Like, you got to keep them going. They all have, yeah. So this shit's real, and hopefully we navigate through it. But it's
cheers
real.
To that.
Yeah. Anyway,
cheers to that, Dylan. He asked a really positive question.
Things that I miss,
happy, like nostalgic, like something you miss.
Nostalgic, like, yeah. What do you miss?
I think the thing I miss the most now is, and me and Chris and Brian kind of had a discussion about this when we got the new offices, was for 10 years, basically, we were in one room together. Like, me and Chris and another person were in like a U. We had like 3 desks in a U in one room, and we were right next to each other. We would fucking.
Is that what a Dutch oven is? Is that what that is?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yep. Okay. Yep. We would just shut the door.
I've heard that term before.
Each other.
I just didn't know what that was.
But it was just like being right next to them, like joking around and fucking around all day. And now we all have our own offices. It's nicer to have like the offices and all this stuff, but like grinding it out in the old days, or, you know, even late nights when you're exhausted and we got a ton of stuff to do, was always nice to just like turn up the music, order food, and just like, you know, whatever, grind it out, knowing that we were investing time and money and energy into growing this company. And now, I mean, it's a good thing, and we're still growing for sure, but it's like, to a degree, it's on autopilot. You know what I mean? It's like every day we come in, we do what we got to do, and we go home at 5:00. Like, we were talking the other day about how like one of the new girls is kind of talking about the way certain things are. And I'm like, I've been doing this for long enough to know that like things come in certain waves. Like, it was before 4th of July, how everyone was super busy. I mean, everyone's kind of still busy, but before 4th of July, everyone was crazy busy. And then I'm like, you know what? The week of 4th of July is going to slow everything down. And then the week after that is going to be like like things are going to be fine. Like, it's not going to be as balls to the wall as it is. And they're like, no, it's not. You need to hire like 3 people and all this other stuff. And I'm like, nope, it'll be fine. And then it's exactly what happened. Like, the week after 4th of July, it like coasted back down and we were smooth again. And it's just like, I don't know. To a degree, I think things now are at a point where we all have our roles and we've been doing it long enough that we're kind of just like going through the day. We're still having fun shooting the shit, but we're not like, oh fuck, what do we do? And then you achieve what you were trying to do and you're fucking high-fiving and everything else. And
so basically you just told us how you built Initech.
right. Mm-hmm. So to that, the grind, the really hard grind, I feel like is something that we don't have as much anymore. And it's not necessarily, I mean, that's what you want. You want to get out of that, but I feel like to a degree, I miss that a little bit.
I'm the same way. I mean, I miss those early days when, you know, that first phase when you're starting up and we're younger. Everybody here now it seems like they have families and kids to get home to. And, you know, at first we were starting up and it'd be 5 o'clock. That didn't matter. And we'd go to happy hour or we'd have some drinks here and stay late and then maybe print an order. Who knows? You know, I'm like those, I don't know. I definitely miss that because none of that happens anymore. It's kind of like when I was at hanging out with Loco Daddy today and there were some other people down there and it's like, hey man, yeah. Like, do you guys go, like what clubs do you go to in St. Louis? Do you ever go to 360? You know, it's that one that spins around down there by the arch. I'm like, oh, we don't go to any like clubs. Like none. I don't even know a name of a single club in St. Louis. And so what happened? Like, that's not a good thing, I don't think.
Basically,
like,
I should bring glow sticks to the, if we both go to ISS.
For sure. Yeah. Well, like our front office now used to be our like break room and there used to be 2 TVs mounted on the wall. And we would have a day, like back when we were younger, we would have days where we just we weren't 9 to 5 busy every single day. It was like, get to the shop, we'll print what jobs came in. And then when the jobs are done, like go home or fucking whatever. So we would just play Gears of War. Like we would have 2 TVs, we have 2 Xboxes, we'd have sodas and pizza or whatever. And we would just like print through the day. And then when we were done, we would all go in that room and we would just play fucking verses. And we would just like play Xbox. And it was like, we had time to do that because we didn't have any jobs or we were done for the day or whatever. And it's like, we still have that setup now bigger in the break room, but it's meant for nights and weekends. It's not like during the workday of like, oh, let's do this or whatever. It's like, okay, get our shit done now. And it's, we played this last Friday night. We got together and we played at like 9 o'clock till like 1 a.m, but it's like a later thing now. We're just we're getting older and wiser.
We are, but it makes me think that we need to do more company, like gatherings or field trips or whatever, like go to a cards game or go do something. You know what I mean?
We try
like
to do that as much as we can, but I don't know.
So are you guys going to be at Furnace Fest with me or what?
Well, we're going to Atlantic City this weekend.
Put me down. All right. Shop hacks.
Oh, man. I don't know, that magic eraser is pretty fucking rad. Like, I mean, just the cut down in the screen cleaning time is unbelievable. Like, trying to think shop hacks. I mean, I'm sure by now everybody knows about the rubber tape, but then I found a vendor on Amazon and get it cheaper. It's as good, and you don't got to pay that damn Uline shipping on that freaking
the gum rubber tape.
Yeah, the gum rubber tape. Yeah. The guy told me about that years ago, and that changed everything. It doesn't salt. Like, you don't get the little special discharge. Like, it's just the discharge. It'll sneak through on you if you're not making the screens right. And I didn't know how to make a screen right till about 2 years ago. It took me 8 years to figure out how to make a
We use the gum rubber tape
screen.
for plastic solvent with water-based. We use the R tape.
Yeah, it would always cut through, it seemed like. I don't know. But I mean, I can't think of like anything original.
Do you have anything with the patch sewing?
What do you mean? Like what, the machines we use?
Well, either that or this is a question I have for you is what are you using to stick the patch to the hat before you sew it on?
We have self-stick adhesive like that is already on the patch. So you just peel the backing off and stick it on there.
Oh, really? I don't have that. I get
something my maker does for me.
I was gonna say I get the adhesive backing, but it's not activated until it's hot.
Well, I mean, we used to do that until we did this, but then I will say as well, we've upgraded our machines and your machine, and we have a couple little fun little tools that are 70-year-old Singer factory retired sewing machine tech wizard told us about. But your needles will not go through it on most machines. They'll get caught. It'll gum up the threads. Like you're going to be fighting like a nightmare. But yeah, it saves a shitload of time because you just peel like.
Well, you're getting it instead of the hot adhesive pack.
I mean, we can get either one. Like I typically get the hot adhesive, but you just peel it. It's sticky as shit. And just stick it on that.
Because you're sewing it on, you're not going to heat press it. I
mean, I'll spray adhesive on heat one. We get heat one on woven just because it helps. I don't like the way it pleats when you sew the woven when they're not. The sticky backing on a woven leaves it too soft and pliable. So we'll spray adhese woven patches because it keeps them stiffer so they won't pleat on you when you're sewing them. I just don't like it. Looks like shit. Like
why do you choose to stitch down most of your patches instead of just
for durability? I just like the durability of it, and like I charge for it. I charge more, but I don't know. I just feel like we heat press for years, and I know that I've heard great things about that Hottronics. Do you have one of those? The three? I may have asked you. Like I think I asked Brett at Printed Threads. I've never met him in person, but I think he had. I was asking him about it, but I just think the durability of it. I just like.
I agree. Yeah. We just don't do a ton of hats. Like, we do a lot of embroidered hats, but like patches, we do a lot of them, but it's not like a daily thing. So like when we get them, it's usually just, I order the patches with the adhesive backing, the one that activates when it's heated or whatever. But I just use that like blue, that heat tape or whatever, and tape the patch down and then press it and then peel it off.
I'll give you probably an easy hack because I don't like to give away too many secrets, but the Super 77, the red 3M spray is probably the best because you go beyond that with the web, it's too gummy. You go below, it's not strong enough. But again, you have to be controlled with that spray because if your needle starts going through it, it's going to grab and you're going to get thread breaks and it's going to be a nightmare. Like I've done everything on the needle. Yeah, you don't want to get the machine I have now is amazing and it fucking plows through anything. And again, I have secret tools that are nothing insanely innovative, but they're amazing that I bought out of China that keep your heat down on your threads and your needles and stuff like that. Like I'm really getting into machines now. Like, I actually have them custom making some different bar tacking machines and things like that I've discovered, like actually programmed with custom brackets to expedite like woven labels and hats and also woven labels on shirts. Like, cause it's just, I'm just like where I'm at. I'm never probably going to be you guys. Like you guys are killing it. And that's what I mean by the way y'all juggle all this. So I have to find, and I do have, I guess you could say it's outsourcing, but I have a few direct people that I work with that I drop ship things to for overflow purposes when it comes to stitching hats and stuff. But like, I'm really having to go deep. That's the point of the oval is like, I think the future most likely is a 5 to 10 person shop with the way things are going with labor. This is just me. Like the way I see in the quality of life I want and keep it highly efficient and delve deep into machines and the reliability of those machines. Like when I look at the digital squeegee, it looks amazing, but I just think it's got a ways to go. And I know there's a lot of variables that you really got to have that thing dialed in right to have consistent results. And winter time versus summertime are two different things depending on your shop and the climate control and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah. That guy, the guy at Evolutionary Screen Printing, Mike Frankow, he's in Lakeland, Florida. I mean, that dude cracks me up. I've messaged him because he made like a fogging machine. It's stupid. Like, I don't know if you guys follow him or know who he is, but like, basically his tech in Tampa. He's
the one. Is he the one that has the rock with the digital squeegee on it?
Yeah. His tech in Tampa, who saved my life with that freaking eye image on weekends. I PayPal him money, just asking questions because he knows more about that eye image. SBB technical, something SBL or something. He's out of Tampa. He like works on it. I called him when he was working on his race car and he fucking solved my eye image problems in 5 minutes. But yeah, I just think without pinballing too much is like I think the future, whether it's digital or not, you have to have a highly optimized just top to bottom efficient shop. Like I love the Ecotex. Like I love that, Andy. I don't know if I'm ever going to have that. Because I don't think I make enough screens to justify balance. I had a pool in Florida, and that alone made me want to fucking hit it with the slide of it with a fucking pickaxe, balancing that pH, water level, and bacteria and algae. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's a task in itself, but yeah, it looks like an amazing tool. Like definitely. But yeah.
Well, you want to do shop hacks?
We just did.
Yeah,
or quick takes, I mean?
Yeah.
What's quick takes? I can't
So
remember.
quick takes, you're going to love them. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
You're going to love
right
these.
up your alley.
I'll put my thinking cap on.
Okay. Okay.
Oh God.
What's one thing you need every morning?
White Monster.
How many of those do you go through a day?
It depends on how busy the day is and how much I need to keep walking around.
What's the flavor of the white one?
It's just white. I don't know.
Just white. Cool.
It's just white.
Just a bunch of
I gotta get off them though. Like they're really bad. Like
here's my question to that is that when do you stop drinking them? You know, like is there a certain time? Because if not, then how do you fall asleep?
Weed gummies. They make me sleep like a coma. Delta 8 gummies. Franny's Pharmacy, Asheville, North Carolina. Drop shit to your door in an unmarked box. They're amazing. Yeah. And you're talking to a guy that grew up religious and never did any drugs, and I'm a believer in weed, my friend.
So that is the answer to the question to what is one thing you need every night? Cool.
A Delta 8 gummy. One little sugary gummy bear about 45 minutes before you decide to go sleepy time.
All right. So best recent read, listen, or watch.
I watched the Demonic movie last night, but it was good until it got about halfway through. I don't know if y'all know what that movie is. It just came out. Like the guy was on Rogan last week, the director, but he made District 9 and Elysium. And then it's about demon possession, but it goes a little further than that, the simulation and everything like that. It was kind of cool. Beyond that, I'm trying to think.
I see the new Gemstones is done filming.
Oh yeah, like that's a pretty crazy thing. I mean, just another example of how what the fuck I'm even doing here on this podcast. Like a couple weeks ago, if anybody's watched it, they know Edie Patterson's hilarious. Like that's Danny McBride's sister and his wife Cassidy Freeman. Well, she hit me up, just wanting to do a gift for the cast and crew, and like I got caught in a flash flood because they wanted to do a FaceTime call, and I'm just sitting there like texting and FaceTiming with them too in my truck in a parking lot because I can't get out. It's just hilarious. It's like, yeah, I don't know. It's fucking cracking me up. It's funny. So
the best part about that was our conversation about how they were asking you if you wanted to be in it naked. And you turned it down.
I turned it down because they wouldn't give me money for liposuction to suck all the fat out of my ass.
What was it? Was it like it was like a fucking locker room scene or something?
Well,
right?
There's a lot of wrestling, like throwback wrestling, I guess, something like that this season. Like I was going to apply for like an extra as a rep, but like I was super busy. It would have been stupid.
Well, so for the people who don't know, they shoot that show where Josh lives in
Charleston, South Carolina.
Right.
But yeah, they got their production company here and like they filmed that. I can't bring myself to watch the Outer Banks show, but I guess they filmed that here, and people, that's like the young folks Dawson's Creek, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. Dawson's Creek was way better.
Joe and I watched a movie last night called Pig.
Oh, with Nicolas Cage?
Yeah. Did you see it?
I want to see it. I haven't seen it yet. Was it good?
I liked it. I mean, we liked it.
Did you rent
it? We must have. Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah, it's on demand.
Yeah, we rented it on demand.
I would never guess you pick that movie.
There's about so Nicolas Cage uses this pig to find truffles. He's a truffle hunter.
Yeah.
And somebody steals
Dude,
his
watch
pig,
the trailer for it. It looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, like he's like goes and tries to find his pig back. He loves the pig. He doesn't just like the pig because it finds his truffles.
Pig's name Bacon.
What I got from the trailer, from what I remember, because I watched it once, was it seems like John Wick, but but basically Nicolas Cage with a pig. So someone kills his pig and then he goes on a fucking rampage.
No, hold on. Don't say kill the pig.
Oh my God, things have gotten bad for Nicolas Cage. Oh my, Castor Troy is not doing well.
Yeah,
actually, things have gotten better.
Yeah, he's in his prime now.
Yeah, he's back.
God.
Like, dude, he's back for sure. He redeemed himself.
What was his name in Con Air? I can't remember his name in that one. Castor Troy was Face Off. What the hell was Con Air? What the hell?
I know it too because I talk about it all the time. Fuck, that's
all talking like this and Con Air.
Come on. You said Castor Troy and it threw me off.
Be like, has anybody else got a Fantastic Sam's frequent cut card?
I'm looking it up too.
I know what it is.
Cameron Poe.
Yeah.
Cameron Poe.
Yeah. Dude, fucking Cyrus the Virus in that movie.
I feel like Cameron Poe might have been a distant relative of Forrest Gump because they both talk like that.
Yeah, super weird.
What's your favorite drink, Cameron? Dr. Pepper.
We used to, for a while, there was a video that came out on YouTube that was Nicolas Cage. I think it's called Nicolas Cage Loses His Shit. And it's just like 10 minutes of him in all of his movies, like freaking the fuck out. And there's one thing, I don't remember what he was doing, but he's just like walking through the streets and he's just like, oh. And we used to do that like anytime anything got messed up in the shop or like a screen would pop or something would happen, you'd hear like everyone in the shop go, oh. They just reenact the Nicolas Cage thing. It was fucking so good for a long time. And I usually
do that same thing whenever.
Hold on, I gotta grab something real quick. Stay right there.
Did he just pull popcorn out of his ears? Yeah, that's hilarious. Pig. That's funny sounding.
You ever see Valley Girl?
No. What is that one?
That's, from the 80s. It was like one of his first movies. I can't believe you've never heard of Valley Girl.
I watched like most of the others. Say Anything, like all the other 80s flicks.
Yep.
Valley Girl. I gotta look that one up.
Right. Yeah, it's a good one. He's like from the wrong side of the tracks and he dates the cheerleader or some shit,
Was this the beginning origins of Pig? Like that's actually when he was a kid before he started wearing a flannel chasing truffles.
What is this?
What the hell? Oh my God.
I don't even know what that is. What was it?
I guess a flag? A beach towel. I don't know what that is. Must be. I just want to be doing as good as you guys one day to be buying shit like that. What is that? Is that a buzzsaw behind your head, Andy? Like, what is that back there? It looks like a buzzsaw.
It does look like that. No, it's actually up there. It's a mirror.
Some creepy shit in that shop, Andy.
my Nicolas Cage flag.
Oh my God.
I got that for Brian for his office.
This has got to be going pretty good, I guess, if Andy hasn't heard any gunshots or whatever he described that one night.
Or birds.
Or breaking in the back door or something. I don't know what that was all about.
It's risky. It's dark here now too. So
it's 9:30.
How far are you from the house? Like how long does it take you to get home, Andy, from there?
14 minutes.
Damn. Got that down to a T.
1 minute for me.
I'm just gonna walk upstairs slowly.
Oh, I gotta get the next question.
Next question.
It's me. I gotta get it.
How long are these podcasts usually? I had no idea what to expect. Are they
usually about 2.5 to 3 hours?
Okay.
We're almost done. What advice would you give your younger self? You started later though, so
I don't don't panic. I don't know.
You should have said it is what it is.
I would, but I fucking hate that phrase. I don't know. I guess like the other thing I have realized, like when you guys talk about nostalgia, is it really It really is about the journey. It's not really the destination. It's like, I look at my shop now and I got a tiny shop, but like, I remember when I spent the $400 on those American Apparel tri-blend blanks to put Grizzly Wheeler and blue on them, thinking I'm going to put them out in the world and people are going to buy them, and no one gave a shit. Like, I sold like one shirt to a friend for $20, but
totally worth
like, yeah, I mean, it's like a toy store to me. It's like a screen print toy store. I mean, all the tools I have that I could have never dreamed of. I mean, as much as the eye image has tormented me a little bit, it's been an amazing tool, like CTS. And I don't know. It's fucking weird. I don't know. I mean, you just put one foot in front of the other. Don't panic.
That's the biggest thing I would say is it's just one foot in front of the other and just keep going. Yeah. Like I never made a plan of like, this is where I want to be at this point. This is where I want to be at this point. I just literally go day by day and year by year. And like, if something comes up and I'm like, oh, we can make this better, I buy that thing or do that thing. So it's like, I'm never like, oh, in 2 years, I want to have this and I want to make sure I'm here and I reach this goal. It's just like, I just go every day and shit happens.
Yeah,
do it long enough, goals. You end up somewhere.
Yeah, I have overall goals, but like I'm not necessarily. I super like admire people that can actually put timestamps on things, but like my wife, even at this point, like she knows when something enters my mind, it's going to manifest or happen. I just can't tell you exactly when it's going to happen, but it's kind of a dangerous thing because if the wrong shit gets in there, it's already in there. It's got to happen now. I don't know.
So what would you be doing if you weren't running a print shop?
I'd own a fireworks store.
Are they legal in Are they legal where you are?
I don't know, but they sell a shitload of them. I don't know. I think there's a difference because when I was at my client's farm the other day, it was the middle of the day and they have an entire tool chest full of fireworks, like a nice high-end tool chest from Craftsman full of fireworks. But then they were telling me, I guess, New York, there's different levels of good shit, I guess, with fireworks. And I don't know if we have the good shit. I think it's up north but yeah, I love me some fireworks.
They had some laws here for a while. I remember all growing up, it was illegal. What was it? It's illegal to buy fireworks in New York. So like they don't sell fireworks in New York, but it's legal to shoot them off. But it's illegal to shoot them off in Pennsylvania, but it's legal to buy them in Pennsylvania. So everyone in New York would just drive to PA, buy a shitload of fireworks, bring them back to New York and shoot them off. So I remember that was the thing. Like if for 4th of July, if you wanted fireworks, you had to drive to PA to get them.
I'm pretty sure they don't have good fireworks in California at this point.
They don't want fireworks in California.
When someone lights a cigarette, they just put a choke collar on them and just like tackle them.
Dylan, what you got?
What's your favorite thing to cook?
Hot Pocket.
I thought you were gonna say meth.
God damn, you always ask me when I got ice in my mouth. No, let's see. Well, I got an air fryer. That thing automatically comes with 40 pounds. So
you're one of those people.
Yeah, it's pretty steak fries. Or I had a steak fries with half barbecue, half French. It's pretty good.
Okay, yeah. Andy. Signature.
Andy's healthy. I don't know what he's eating.
Cauliflower. Come on, what is it?
I didn't know if he lagged out or.
I'm laughing at the cauliflower thing. All right, so what did you have for dinner tonight? Because normally it's what are you gonna have for dinner, but this is a late one. So what did you have for dinner earlier, or have you not had dinner yet?
I haven't had dinner yet. I always end the day with 2 cans of chicken noodle soup. So
every day.
Perfect.
Yeah. My buddy tells me to quit eating it because I guess it has preservatives and sodium in it. But, I always remind him. I remind him of the movie High Fidelity and Jack Black's line, is it better to burn out or to fade away?
Yep. And scene. End.
Fade to black.
All right, buddy. We love you. Thanks for doing this with me again.
I appreciate you guys inviting me, man. It was fun.
I really do hope that you come to a show soon so we can see you. I
Dude,
told you
I
about this not that long ago, but I really do want to do an East Coast road trip before the year's over. So I want to drive down and see you. What I do need to do is I need to get Andy to come to my shop and then we'll drive it together. And I was thinking about asking you if Print United was happening or if it's hopefully still happening, that we could just drive there and then fly home afterwards. Yeah, if me and you drove down the East Coast and stopped at a couple shops on the way and then went to the show and then we just flew home.
That'd be rad. All right.
What is that? Where's that at? Like
Orlando.
When are they having that?
Beginning of October.
Beginning of October. Are these things happening though? Because
well, that's
my buddy's
the problem
conference
right now.
in Memphis, it went virtual. He can't because I was going to do a merch table in Memphis at the beginning of October. That went virtual. They're not doing
That's
that.
the problem right now is that everything was ramping back up and all these things are happening again. And now I feel like it's week by week we're hearing if things are going to happen or not happen. All right.
Great seeing you, man. And if you guys want to diversify and maybe get into some poppy fields, I'm right down the road from the Ozarks. So maybe that's the answer.
It sounds like a good deal to me.
Yeah, I know.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, I've been telling all my design buddies that want to fuck with Bitcoin and all that. I'm like, they think I'm joking, but I'm the next step. It's either going to be tiny homes. I'm looking at parcels of land. I'm either going to put split unit single levels on because there's a guy in the town in Florida my parents live in. This joker did it on every side of town. He fucking has 10 of them on 2 acres of each parcel. They think I'm joking. I'm like, you want to invest?
They have a lot of those here in Ithaca. They have a lot of they have a whole tiny home lot.
They crush and they think I'm joking. I'm like, keep putting your money in that fucking fairy dust. I'm not messing with that shit.
I once wanted to open a tiny home subdivision where it's gated and then you get in there and the yards are massive, massive yards, tiny homes. I thought that'd be kind of fun. Right?
Okay. I just eat the gummies, but I want to know what you're taking.
All right, man.
Andy's doing ayahuasca before he goes sleepy time.
Yeah,
that's right. That's the last thing I need before I go to bed.
You guys are the bestest.
Yeah, buddy. Love you.
All right, later.